bitches. It's time for some pop fucking goulash. Oh, first true real recorded episode for the year.
Hey.
Yeah, and sitting across from me, I have an old friend and a returning guest to the podcast, Mr. Bob Taylor.
Hello.
How's it going, sir?
It's going well, thank you.
Good. You may remember Bob from when he and Dan came onto the podcast a couple months back. So I was like, I need help. I need guests. Bob raised his hand. He's like, just tell me when to be there.
I saw you had a lot of...
There were some people that were like...
a lot of gentleman callers offering.
Oh,
so
yes.
Thank you for choosing me.
Hey, what can I say? I'm popular with the fellas. And Bob brought over this fantastic tequila that tastes like a whiskey. What is it called again?
Corralejo. Comes in a big old blue bottle.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty damn delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it was aged in oak barrels or something.
I have no idea. Yeah. I've not ever looked into it.
You're like, I don't care. I just drink it.
I mean, normally I care about that kind of thing, but I don't know why. I have never looked up this where this comes from.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty tasty. So, forgive me if you hear some hum or buzz or some whoosh in the background. My dehumidifier is running. I had a leak in our dishwasher, and I had to pull out about 8 tiles out of the other side of the place and tear out insulation. And
that's no good.
Dude, when it rains, it fucking falls, man. Laptop went out, then the drawer in the upper drawer, the rack of the dishwasher, busted the fuck. It had slowly fallen apart for 4 years. It was all plastic, and I guess why would you put plastic that might be affected by a very harsh corrosive soap that you put into the dishwasher, and it just fell apart.
My wife and we live in an apartment now, and we have for as long as we've been married, for the last almost 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we're probably going to be moving into a house, hopefully later this year.
Word.
I know these are the joys of homeownership.
Oh God,
that
it's
await me.
It's a fucking, it's such bullshit, dude. Seriously, the whole fucking homeownership thing it's bullshit.
Well, where we live right now, which thankfully, as I speak, the people that live above me, it's a woman and her boyfriend DJ. He DJs house music.
Nice.
Which I'm not particularly fond of,
mm-hmm.
but I get to listen to it a lot every single day. Every single beat is just 4 to the floor kick drum, just every song.
Easy to dance to, though.
My God, it's so annoying though. But they're thankfully moving out as we speak right
really?
now. Yep.
Wow. So you might actually get some peace and quiet at the house.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I got a friend of mine who DJs house music, and
that's not to knock people.
No. I know.
House music.
Yeah.
Or DJs.
Yeah, she's really, really good too. I mean, she tours all over the world and stuff.
I just don't want to live adjacent to her while she's rehearsing.
Well, you gotta think that, why would you rehearse at home with loudspeakers? Put fucking headphones on.
So my wife, we don't know our neighbors particularly well. We have said hi a couple of times. My wife got her name off of the mailbox, first and last name, because we only knew her first name. Looked her up on Facebook and Instagram and found her boyfriend. And so we found out that he tends to be doing 2-3 hours of rehearsing the night he has a gig. And his gigs don't usually start till midnight or so.
So he's booming until he has to leave his apartment.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and we found out about it she looked him up on Instagram, and he made a video of holding up his phone in the selfie position with his headphones on, getting my mixes ready for tonight, guys. And the apartment was our apartment because it's up above us. It was just identical. That asshole's just.
So basically, he was like, I'm pre-programming everything into my computer so I can plug it in and make it look like I'm doing something.
Maybe, yeah.
Have you ever seen those videos on Facebook where it shows the DJ and he's all grooving and shit, and he's just moving his hands around, you think he's tweaking the dials and shit, and then they pan over him and he's just not doing anything. He's not touching anything. I'm like, yeah, what a bunch of bullshit.
See, there's some DJs, I don't know if I would call them that, but producers, I think they would call themselves, who make some kinds, not necessarily house music, but do live electronic music performance.
Sure.
And that they might not have to be doing anything performance wise, but at least they have a nice light show or a backdrop that's interesting or something.
But there are people who actually do mix things live, as they do it. So I mean, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So
this may not be the case. I'm speaking from ignorance, but it feels like a lost art of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And there are a few that are keeping it real, but yeah, it's all going digital now. So it's like
there's even some stuff you can do performance-wise and sort of improvisational-wise with electronic DJ equipment still. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not as versed in it as I'm
just a little bit.
Well, only because you've endured it.
Yeah, I picked it up through osmosis. Yeah.
Right. So, but dude, so you went to see Pearl Jam this summer.
I did.
I remember the last time I was like, dude, once you see him. So what was your hot take?
My hot take. I think I've already told you this, and you didn't seem like you appreciated it very much. I loved that show. I thought it was spectacular. This is my hot take.
Sure.
I think Eddie Vedder is like. He's like our modern day, even though Bruce Springsteen's still around and making music and performing. He's like a younger, I would say, better Bruce Springsteen.
Sorry, Tracy.
And I do say that having never seen Bruce Springsteen,
right?
So it's not really a knock on him.
But you know what? He has that aura about him. Like he, and
he sings them. His vocals live are incredible.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's a powerhouse.
Oh, for sure.
Mike McCready, he feels like a vestige. Like something left over from the early 90s, like when they put out 10, or from the late 80s. I don't know when they started playing music together.
It was 91. 91.
Feels like he's the only part of the group that hasn't really evolved. Because they turned into like very... Americana's probably not the right way to put it.
They're straightforward rock and roll. They're just like, they're not...
But they have that Bruce Springsteen, almost blue collar feel.
Yeah, for sure.
But then he just rips out like a crazy... like hair metal style solo on most of the songs. Mm-hmm. That little grated on me a little bit, but it didn't keep me from enjoying the show. So I went to the second of the two Wrigley shows.
Yeah, I was at the first night.
Yeah, and the second one was delayed like 2 hours or so.
Yeah, they had a rain delay.
Yeah. I was fortunate because I was sitting up in the bleachers. A friend of mine who's a pretty hardcore fan had what do they call their fan club?
A 10 Club?
Yes, 10 Club. He had some 10 Club tickets that were like fifth row in the upper deck of the bleachers there.
Sure.
Which ended up being perfect because rows 1 through 4 just got drenched and we were sitting directly underneath the overhang. So we just got to just lean back and just chill out at Wrigley while it's like downpouring and thunder and lightning. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Met some really cool hardcore Pearl Jam fans that drove in from Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Just some older guys.
Well, they only played
like steel workers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they only played like 7 shows in the States this year.
Really?
Yeah, they did 2 at Fenway, 2 at Wrigley, 2 in Seattle, and then 1 in Missoula, Montana.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the entirety of their U.S. tour.
I didn't until like a couple of days leading up to it. I had no idea how serious Pearl Jam fans are.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Because my buddy, who doesn't live in the city, but I do, I offered to swing by Wrigley because they set up a merch tent just outside, across Waveland from left field. It was a temporary shelter where they were just selling merch like 2 or 3 days ahead of the show starting.
Oh, yeah.
And I went there the first day, and he gave me like a shopping list of stuff he wanted. They looked up on the website. I just bought it all for him. But I waited in line maybe 20, 30 minutes, which was not that long.
No.
But
dudes were waiting like the days of the show for hours.
That was less than an hour after like they opened.
Right.
And it was already like a sizable line.
Oh, yeah. Those posters that they sell are...
Yeah, I got one with like the L on it.
That's the one that I got.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten... They had one that had like a purple mastodon on it, and I wish I would have grabbed that one but as well. But, I mean, they were $35 for a poster.
Yeah.
So I got a poster, I got a hat, I got a deck of the playing cards that they had.
Yep.
Or not playing cards, but they were like baseball cards. So I got a deck of those, and I haven't even opened them yet. So they're still in the package.
I got a shirt for myself. It was like the skeleton in like old timey baseball.
Yes.
Hitting a flaming baseball.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good shirt, no matter what band.
For sure. Yeah, and then I got the blue and gray Pearl Jam snapback.
Yeah.
Which I like snapbacks. I hate the bill.
Sure.
I hate the flat bill.
I mean, most hats, if you buy them new, aren't pre-bent.
Yeah, Well, I usually bend the shit out of them.
Well, I guess
but these are like
most of them are. But
yeah, like these are like the hip hop style flat bill, and I just think they look.
Those.
Yeah, it takes some time. You got to like, roll up a newspaper and put it in there.
Get them wet and then put them in a glass.
Yeah, yep. And then rubber bands around them too. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. But because I can't stand snap, I can't. I like the design of the hat. I just hate the flat bill. It's terrible. Right. It's the worst.
Yeah, some people can pull it off.
Yeah. So anyway, back to your experience with the show.
So the rain delay, it was just really pleasant because I wasn't getting drenched.
Sure.
It was hilarious to watch like the people once they got the all clear, like power walk because they were pushed into the bullpen.
Oh yeah.
Like tunnels, which that had to be hot and miserable, and they're all wearing ponchos. Like, but it was really fun and quite amusing to watch them like not run because they had clearly been told not to run, but power walk back to not to their spots. So I know somebody got screwed out of I'm sure lots of people got screwed out of the rail spots that they camped out for.
Oh yeah, a couple buddies of mine, the Brads as we call them, because there's Brad Lyons and Brad Blazek from the Single Podcast Theory podcast. Yeah. It's an all Pearl Jam podcast, and they went to both nights. I hung out with them first night because that's the night that I went to. Yeah, and then second night, I guess, they got up way ass early, hung out all day in the rain, waited to get in, had a great rail position. It pissed down rain on them.
That forecast was pretty much spot on for what they were calling for.
Yeah, and poor Brad Lyons, he was in they were in the bullpen areas. And some chick puked on him.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
was
and then
a poncho?
Yeah.
At least he was wearing a poncho, I guess.
True. But so he ended up getting back. They had a great rail position. They were right on the wall. And then they came back and they were they got fucked. Bad.
Yeah.
It's I felt bad for the guys, but
the reality is any spot in the front pit area is going to be
pretty goddamn good, yeah. I mean, first night we were 30 feet back maybe, and it was it's the closest I've ever been to any Pearl Jam show.
That's cool.
Even in '95 when I saw him at Soldier Field, it was I was close,
sure,
but not that close.
Yeah,
So
once the show finally got started, it was already pretty late, but it was still pouring at least for the first third or half of the show or so. I think, from what I can recall, and seeing the lights on the sides of the stage that kind of strobe around and move around, seeing those things flashing in the downpouring rain.
Oh yeah,
was pretty fucking amazing.
Sure.
Yeah. And that was, I kind of enjoyed going into it not being a diehard fan.
Oh yeah, so you could actually sit back.
The guys next to us from Philadelphia freaked out when they played some song and then tagged it with It's Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They tagged tagged daughter with It's Okay.
I watched a guy who probably looked like he was nearing 60 years old lose his shit when they started playing It's Okay.
See,
he was just finally.
That's hilarious. See, and
chasing that
dragon,
that 60-second tag.
See, and I've seen him do it with that tag before, and I don't even know what song it is. Who originally did it?
I looked it up. It's some lo-fi garage band from I think the late 70s.
Yeah, and all he says is "It's okay," But that's the ultimate tag in Daughter. That or they'll do Another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
They've done that. I've actually seen them tag up Madonna's Ray of Light during that, which at the United Center one year. That was pretty damn cool.
Huh.
So, but yeah.
So, I don't understand the significance. I mean, I understand why someone would be excited about it, but it was kind of nice not having really any anticipation or expectations for the set. But I got to enjoy my buddy who brought me freaking out about shit because he knows what songs are rare.
Oh yeah,
rare or whatever.
Yeah, because there was one song they did that night called "Evil Little Goat." That I don't know. I think maybe they performed it twice. Yeah, twice ever. You know, it was a outtake of an outtake.
Yeah.
So they were just fucking around in the studio and they did this song called "Evil Little Goat."
Right.
And it's a 35-second song.
Yep.
And they busted it out. If you look at the set list for the first show, it was on the set list, but they scribbled it out and went to do something else. So
that's the kind of song I get it. I'm not knocking these people, but I would not get excited about hearing that because it's just a shitty little ditty.
True, but now if it was Radiohead and they would have pulled out some weird little thing that you heard on a bootleg twice.
So that first show that they played at the United Center this summer in July, they played a song that they played. This was the second time in 19 years something
What
like
song?
that. It was Blowout. It's
Okay.
It's off of like Pablo Honey, which I'm not very fond of.
Nobody is.
Again,
They aren't even.
People around
Lost
me
their
freaking
shit.
out about it once they realized what they were listening to, because it was
Mhm.
a little bit different from the studio version.
Sure.
So it's kind of hard to figure out what it was until he started singing the vocals. But even so, like even once I realized what it was, I was like, that's fine.
Right.
I would have rather have heard Paranoid Android First Night.
Yeah, but then again, if they had done like a rarer song off of an album that you really enjoyed,
sure. I mean, if I really really like the song, then I'd be excited, but probably not because it's rare.
right?
But again, I understand why people like that.
Mhm.
It's
I mean,
like this intangible collection.
oh yeah. Like I've got an app on my phone. It's called the PJ Stat Tracker.
Right. Yeah.
And
you told me about that.
Yeah, they throw up all the set lists, and then you can actually go down and see the percentages of songs that you've seen and how often they do them and how rare it is.
No, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Fish fans are much the same way. You went to Fish too, didn't you?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I ended up having plans.
Gotcha.
I didn't go.
Oh,
I
what a
considered
bummer.
it though.
Oh, dude, that would have been a blast. I would have loved to have heard your take at a Fish show.
Have you ever listened to? It was like a really short-lived podcast called Analyze Fish.
I have
PH.
not.
So it's Scott Aukerman from Comedy Bang Bang
Okay.
and Harris Whittles, he's deceased.
Oh.
He was a writer for like Parks and Rec, super funny guy.
Okay.
He's the Fish fan trying to convince Scott, who's not a Fish fan, for like 7 or 8 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
convince him of why he should be a Fish fan.
Sure.
And I think it's great for everybody because I don't particularly like Fish. I
Right.
used to hate them when I was younger.
As did I.
So I thought from that angle it was really hilarious to just listen to, like, he starts playing a song, like, dude, you're gonna love this one song, and like within 5 seconds Scott's like, nope, turn it off, nope, nope. But the best episode is where they go to a show.
Oh, really?
And bring like field recording equipment, and he takes I think he smokes some pot and maybe drop some acid or eat some mushrooms or something like that, and he has a great time. He's like, I don't love the music, but the people here are so friendly, and it's just a great environment. And
yeah, it's an interesting vibe. Yeah. That's for sure.
I know some Fish fans. I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
and they're probably not even the weirdest of the bunch.
No, and I went. God, it's pushing on almost 10 years now. The last time I saw Fish, my wife and I went.
Yeah.
Not her scene at all. Like, so far away from her scene that, like, she didn't want to be seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, but I just found out they're playing 3 nights at Alpine Valley this summer, and I'm like,
no kidding.
I may have to try to.
I feel like nobody plays Alpine Valley.
Nobody does
anymore.
play. Well, I mean, there's so many venues in Chicago to play.
Yeah. That was kind of iconic, though.
Oh, dude, have you been there?
It's been a long time,
It's
but yeah.
It's one of my favorite venues ever.
Sitting in the muddy lawn.
You're in the lawn, in the pavilion, wherever, dude.
If it's raining, you're sliding down the hill.
Dude, yeah. Seriously. I've been there one of the hottest days of the year, and then I went there in October of 2000 to see Pearl Jam and sat on they called it the Ice Bowl because it was about 30 degrees that night.
Oh man, that's gotta be crazy.
It was fucking brutal. It's documented. They have a DVD out called Touring Band 2000, and they have one song from that show, and you could see everybody is just completely bundled up.
I wonder how warm it was on stage.
Nope,
It's hard to play instrument like guitar when your hands are really cold.
Oh, trust me,
really hard.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, like McCready's all like in 4 different jackets and like, but they rocked it, man. They played a fucking hell of a show that night. But it was cold. Oh my god, dude! Like it's the first time I've ever been to a concert where they sold hot chocolate. Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Nuts.
Isn't that the venue? Like where Stevie Ray Vaughan died?
Yeah, he died on the hill.
Away from it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he picked the wrong helicopter, man. Like, because they were all getting it. It was like...
The place has some history.
Yeah, dude. Like, there was, what was it? It was a big concert that he did. I think, I don't want to say it was the end of the tour. I might be out of school on that. But, like, he was there. Robert Cray was there. Buddy Guy showed up. Eric Clapton.
Yeah, Eric Clapton. I think it was his thing, or
they were playing together or something. I can't remember, but like, and there was a couple other big names that were there, and they were all going to fly down to Buddy Guy's place in Chicago, and they were going to jam at Buddy Guy's after the show. and there was a dense fog, and the one helicopter made it, and Stevie's didn't. Crashed right into the hill. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Seriously, dude.
That's a way to go.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he had just gotten himself clean and sober too. That was the shittiest part about the whole thing. Like, he had been sober for maybe a year and a half, and he kissed a mountain.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, if you're a big name professional musician, just stop flying.
Yeah, seriously. What was it? Did you see? You've seen Almost Famous, right?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, like at the very end of the movie, they're back in the bus, and it said the No More Airplanes tour or something like that. So that's one of my favorites.
One of my pet peeves in movies is when they do like live music or professional musicians just like in a really sort of caricaturized, cartoony kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why I always think of this as an example. This is probably the movie I was watching at the time when I first thought of this. I'm assuming you've seen School of Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Linklater. At the end of the movie where they're having like the battle of the bands and all the other performers are there, there's like some dude who's wearing like sleeves, just sleeves, and no shirt, and he like cocks his head to the side and gives like this sound. Like, nobody acts like that.
Right.
And if they did, like, somebody would say something about it.
For
like,
sure.
Dude, stop being such a dick.
Yeah, right. Like,
but then Almost Famous, I saw that probably way later, and that movie feels like a realistic band dynamic to me. And I know it's based off of a bunch of different real bands from the 70s.
Totally.
So it kind of makes sense. But even like the performance, like the songs that they do, like even those sound awesome and realistic and believable. And I think that's what really sold Almost Famous for me.
Right. Well, fun fact, all the guitar parts, Mike McCready.
Yeah.
Played all those. Cause
and I think the vocals, wasn't it like Peter Gabriel or something? Somebody super famous?
I don't think it was Gabriel. No, it was definitely not Peter Gabriel. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
I think it was like a super group that's with quotes, super group of sorts.
All right, well, let's look this shit up then. I've got the power of the internet in front of me. Who provided vocals for Almost Famous? Famous, Famos. Come on, Ruben. Stillwater. Come on, Googles.
Yeah, because I know the band itself was based off of a bunch of different, like your Zeppelins and your Humble Pies and your Warner Brothers.
Let's see here. It says Pearl Jam's. All right, let's click on this article from EW from 2000. God damn, that was a long time ago.
Frampton. I'm thinking of Peter Frampton, not Peter Gabriel. Frampton. That makes much more sense.
Right. Let's see here. Stillwater. It was Pearl Jam's Mike McCready was the talent behind Russell Hammond. The band's charismatic lead guitarist played by Billy Crudup, while ex-Heart guitarist Nancy Wilson plays rhythm for the group. What's more, Peter Frampton penned several of the songs, and Wilson and Crow wrote, but it doesn't say who was the singer.
Are you a Peter Frampton fan?
Yeah.
You've heard Frampton Comes Alive?
Yeah, I mean, he's a hell of a guitar player. I mean, the dude is talented, but I am not I would not consider myself to be...
highly recommend looking up, like, he did, I think earlier this year, maybe it was a couple years ago, a Tiny Desk performance, acoustic.
You know, I've heard so much about those Tiny Desks. Like, I've never seen one before.
You should look them up. There's a lot of really, really good stuff on there.
And that's on NPR, right?
Yeah. It's on their, like, they have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
But he did one, which I'm not a huge fan. But he did, like, just an acoustic set. Just him solo for most of them. He had, like, one of his writing partners come in and play.
Sure.
But, dude, he sounds so good. He's got to be, like, in his late 70s. He sounds so good, like, vocally, and he played a lot of super technical stuff on an acoustic guitar, which isn't always the easiest thing to do.
No, homie's that guy's phenomenal guitar player.
That guy still fucking has it, though.
Right.
And he played and sang Baby I Love Your Way, and, like, I believed him. Like,
really?
He still sold that song to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Which I I can only imagine playing that song for 40-some years, getting sick and tired of that one song.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I remember back in the 80s there was a group, and I can't remember who did it, but they combined Baby I Love Your Way with Freebird. And it was like a huge like MTV hit. But it was like
in the 80s?
Yeah, it was like late 80s, early 90s.
Huh.
And yeah, they totally like took Freebird, or they took the verses from Baby I Love Your Way, and then they did the chorus of Freebird.
Freebird.
Yeah.
Huh.
So let's see, let me know who really sings. Somebody named Marty Fredrickson.
Marty Fredrickson. Why does that sound familiar?
Well, Marty Friedman was the guitar player from Megadeth for years.
Yeah.
Marty worked with Def Leppard. He works with Pink. Let's see.
Oh, so one of the guys in the band from Almost Famous was Peter Frampton's writing partner that's in this Tiny Desk performance.
Oh, really?
It's this guy, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Gordon Scott Kennedy is his name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he's like a studio musician who not like a household name, but probably a super talented songwriter.
Nice.
I say probably. I don't know his work.
Right. I'm not familiar with his back catalog. So what have you been up to, man?
So lately, I'm really, really terrible about, as I'm sure some other people are, keeping up with
the Kardashians.
Like for me, I like to listen to a lot of music most of the time when I'm around the house. I work from home, so I have a lot of time to do that. But with the age of internet streaming and Spotify and things like that, it's just I've gotten really lazy. It's kind of funny. I've gotten lazy with discovering new music, even though it's never been at your fingertips. It's never been easier to do that ever.
Right. Absolutely.
And Spotify is usually pretty good at finding other music that I don't listen to that's in the same vein of stuff that I do, but I've been negligent. So what usually happens at the end of the year is I start looking up usually beginning of December, whenever people start putting out their top albums of 2018 lists.
Sure.
I'll just start kind of looking at them and then checking out albums for 2018, and then I try not to bullshit and say oh yeah, this is my favorite album of 2018, even though I've only been listening to it for a month or so.
Right.
So I've been looking up. Most have been looking up and listening, trying to consume as much of people's top 50 albums that I haven't listened to.
Okay.
And I've been doing that for the last month or so. And I found some really, really good stuff that apparently was super popular and just flew right over my head.
Such as?
So everybody talks about the new Mitski record. She's a pop musician. I don't know where she's from. It's a really, really great pop record though. Where's some other stuff? I can look it up here. The Carters. I didn't even know what the Carters were, and then I realized it's Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah. I did listen to that one. It was okay.
I like it better than most of whatever Jay-Z's putting out now, and I like it better than most of what Beyonce's doing.
This is true.
And I saw the album cover. It's a guy sitting having his head his haircut. It looks like an art hip hop album. Right. But then I realized it was Beyonce and Jay-Z. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool for them, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, he is Sean Carter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it made sense once I put that together.
But
the Carters.
Yeah, you wouldn't
that's
think
not
much
a brand that I recognize.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of an EP, right? It was only 8 songs.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was,
but it's pretty good.
And they kind of snuck it in under the radar, too. They're like, oh, here's an album.
So what else have I been listening to? I've got a playlist here. Lots of it was stuff I've never heard of, and I've never felt older.
I know, dude. Totally.
So this hip hop artist's name is JPEG Mafia, which sounds so ultra millennial.
Okay.
Highly recommend looking it up if you it's sort of abrasive in terms of how it sounds, because it's a good headphone listen, because it's got all kinds of sort of wide stereo spread.
Okay.
Not even music. It's a lot of noise put on top of the music, and a lot of it's just really interesting. I don't think his flow or whatever is particularly good.
But the music is interesting itself. It kind of, have you heard Because the Internet by Childish Gambino?
I have.
Would you compare it to that? Because there's
it's
lot
a
musically
lot more
going on.
Obscure than that.
Oh, really?
Not obscure, but inaccessible almost.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it inaccessible, but it's leaning much more towards that end of the spectrum than Childish Gambino. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So it's like what Mike Patton's been doing for the last 25 years.
I saw Mike Patton in his last new band. This was when
with Dead Cross.
I was fresh out of high school. Oh, maybe it's not his last new band anymore because I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's It's like a metal trio or a metal quad. That's a metal group that he did.
You're piquing my interest now.
Yeah, it's with Dave Lombardo from Slayer, King Buzzo from the Melvins, I think.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, it's.
No, I thought his last new group was shit. What were they called?
Was it Mr. Bungle?
Peeping Tom.
Oh, Peeping Tom was dope, dude.
Peeping Tom was okay.
I dug that album. I thought it was a really interesting album. I saw them in Canada.
Huh.
I was working in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to beep that. I never say the name of the company I work for. Great. Now I'm going to have to listen back to this shit. Fuck.
Just make a note of the time.
Yeah, right. Right around 30 minutes. But yeah, no, I got sent up to Vancouver to work for a month, and they had it was a night I had nothing to do. I was walking around and I saw that they were playing the Commodore Theater.
See, I don't like Peeping Tom, but under those circumstances, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit, Peeping Tom's playing? And I'm like, all right, fine, I'm in. So yeah, Dead Cross, American hardcore punk supergroup.
Wow, he's been busier than I even realized.
Oh, dude, he's been doing
I just saw I was in your driveway. I just saw somebody posted an article on Consequence of Sound. I don't know which game he's going to be singing.
Dallas Cowboys.
He's going to be singing the national anthem.
Yes, I was going to talk about that. Yeah, but yeah, so it's the band consists of guitarist Michael Crane, Justin Pearson on bass, drummer Dave Lombardo, and Mike Patton.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. Like, one of the songs on it is called The Church of the Motherfuckers. Like, it's good, man. It's hardcore, though. It's like crazy. So, but I'm a fucking Patton fan, dude.
Yeah, so am I.
Like, I've got albums where it's one of them is called Adult Themes for Voice, where basically he just, on the last Faith No More tour, he took a Tascam with him and just recorded weird layered vocal shit. And it was just vocal over vocal over vocal. It was really nothing. They weren't songs.
Yeah.
It was just experimental shit. And then he released a second solo album called Adult Themes for Olestro Transisto or something. It was.
I think I've heard that one.
And basically, it was classical, weird, very minimalist classical music.
Yep.
And then he's eating potato chips throughout the record. Or something, and you hear crunching and shit going on. The guy is out there.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard his big band thing?
No.
Mondo Generator?
No.
Yeah, or was it Mondo Cane? Mondo Cane. And it's basically South American big band. It's excellent.
I'm sure it is. Everything that guy does is excellent.
He's fluent in 7 languages.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
The guy's a fucking genius, dude.
Yeah. Did you play any video games at all?
Not so much.
So the game that came out, I was in college at the time, so it's a little older at this point, at least 10 years old, called Left 4 Dead.
He did all the...
Yeah, I didn't know that until a decade later.
Yeah, and he did... a
bunch of zombie voices, yeah.
In I Am Legend, he did all the voices of all the monsters.
Yeah.
He scored a movie. I can't remember what the name of it is, though, but he did score a movie. But yeah, he's done so much stuff since Faith No More just fucked off for 25 or 20 years or so.
Yeah.
But
Faith No More isn't even my favorite of his output.
But that's where I learned of Mike Patton.
No. I like Faith No More a lot.
And they're amazing. Dude, that fucking I will always go back to Angel Dust.
Yeah.
And King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. Those 2 albums were my jam.
I would love to see, and I know they toured a couple years ago. I would love to see them play those songs live because the albums sound a little bit dated, just in how they're produced.
Yeah, but you know what though, man?
Epic has the
dude,
the ringing trash can snare drums.
Yeah,
sounds. Yeah.
Well, I mean, From Out of Nowhere was just total '80s hack metal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still
it's great. I love it.
Fucking Underwater Love is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time.
I'm really. Are you familiar with Tomahawk?
Yes, I've got all of their albums.
I really, 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 really love Tomahawk.
And I think it's funny because Tomahawk's first album was really dark and brooding,
which I love.
then like Mit Gas was just like some fucking weird record.
Yeah.
And then they released...
Isn't Rape This Day on that?
I think so.
Yeah, that song is awesome.
Yeah. And then they released the self-titled album, Eponymous, which was all like interpretations of Native American songs.
Yep.
Which was just way out of left field.
They're called Tomahawk.
Yeah. But you know, the what is it called? The Oddfellows? The last Tomahawk record they put out?
Was that a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to it.
It was
like a bright yellow cover.
Yeah,
Cover. Yeah, I listened
and
to
it was
that quite a
probably
bit.
the most commercially viable rock and roll album that he has done since Faith No More broke up.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, it was a great record. I've actually got a 7-inch from that time frame of theirs.
That's cool.
And it's etched on one side.
Yeah.
And it's just a single. It's pretty badass.
Etched. I've only ever seen one other etched record.
I've got a few.
I wonder how common that is.
You know, it just depends on how much content they really have to put out on the album. Like I've got Jarflies and Sap from Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
And Sap was only like 4 songs.
What is it etched with?
If you turn it over and it has Alice in Chains that's actually etched into the vinyl.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I think I had like super quiet. I think that people call them post-rock band called Explosions in the Sky.
I've heard of Explosions in the Sky.
And their most well-known record is The Earth Is Not a Cold Dead Place, which is a great record to fall asleep to.
Mm-hmm.
Has like doves or something.
Sure.
Something simple etched into one side. That was the only record I've ever had that had that.
Nice. Yeah, see, if I had to pick like a nice going to bed album, Sigarousa's Untitled.
The parentheses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that album's beautiful.
Yeah, until the end.
Yeah.
That end, which I think is one of my favorite recorded songs ever.
Really?
Is particularly like dense and heavy.
Right.
Yeah. I
but
wouldn't want to wake up to that.
Yeah, dude, I fell asleep in an airplane listening to that. Like Matt Polly had recommended it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what should I listen to? He's like, oh, dude, go to the Untitled album. I'm like, all right.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Have you ever seen them live?
I have not.
Oh, that's a magical show.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, I think I saw them once. No, I've seen them numerous times. The first time I saw them was in 2005. They were touring on Talk.
Okay.
Which is a really great album. If you ever listen to that, not the greatest to fall asleep to.
Sure.
But I think a lot of people consider that to be their most accessible. And then I've like tried to make an effort to see them pretty much every time they've come to town ever since then.
Really?
I've skipped them once because they came to Chicago like twice in the same year, which that's fine. It's kind of an expensive show, so I don't often go to like expensive shows.
Right. Well, I mean, they got to fly over here from Iceland. I mean, that fucking ticket ain't cheap.
Yeah. They always seem to take like 2 different approaches to their live show, where it's like, because now there's only 3 members of the band. There used to be 4. Sometimes they tour just the 3 of them, use some backtracks, and it's like super high production using scrims and crazy production projection and things like that, which is really neat. But I think when they've been at their best is when they come with like a 15-member band, like
really,
like some guys just playing some kind of obscure percussion instrument that I don't even know what it is.
It's like some sealskin stretched over like a something
that they clubbed themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right on the fjords. It reminds. Have you heard of Polyphonic Spree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I only got a chance to see them once.
I never saw them.
Yeah, I saw them at the Metro.
Whoa, that seems like a really small room for them.
Yeah, they filled that fucking stage, dude.
Sure.
But like honestly, that is probably one of the very few shows that I've ever been to that like the speakers had emitted pure joy. And I wasn't even stoned at the time. It was just a joyous experience because I used to see Tim DeLauder, the lead singer, and Mark Pirro, the bassist and the drummer, were all in a band called Tripping Daisy.
Okay.
Years before. They put out like 5 albums, but they were just a little obscure pop punk band from like a psychedelic pop punk band from Dallas, Texas.
No kidding.
And when I was in college in like 99, their guitar player OD'd, and that was the end of the band.
Shit.
And then they released a posthumous album, which is, to me, like my least favorite of their albums.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I still can't listen to it. I don't know if it's maybe the association that was Wes's last album.
Right.
But even on one of the songs, they got his dad to come in and play Fender Rhodes on it.
That's cool.
Which is beautiful,
yeah.
But yeah, if you ever get a chance, they've got an album called Jesus Hits Like the Atom Bomb, which is a fantastic fucking record.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Like, it's just fun. It's just sonic.
So the lead singer of Polyphonic Spree, his old band before that? Okay.
Yeah, it's him, the bass player, and the drummer.
Sure.
You know, and it was their original drummer. They actually, I can't even remember what the original drummer's name was, but they ended up, like, he left the band or they kicked him out or whatever, for whatever reason. And hired on this guy named Ben. Fuck, my steel trap memory is slowly falling apart. But his first name was Ben. He was from a band called UFOFU, which was a Dallas punk band, which I saw open up for Tripping Daisy. And Ben ended up playing drums for Tripping Daisy, and then ended up becoming the drummer for a band called Secret Machines.
So that name is very familiar to me.
If you ever get a chance, pick up Secret Machines' first record. It was fucking wonderful. It's an amazing record, dude.
I don't know why I know that name.
They got a lot of airplay for that first record on Q101 back in the day. So, I mean, maybe you'd heard it. I don't know. I know I'm a few years older than you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it did get some airplay. Like, I think it was like The Sultan's Daughter or something like that was the single.
That sounds familiar as well.
Yeah, like, they were fucking killer, dude. Like, just big drums, big guitars.
I don't know enough about the timeline of Polyphonic Spree. Do you know if when you saw them was, I think, what's her face? Annie from St. Vincent? I think she was in their band.
Really?
Playing guitar for them at some
point?
It's
very possible.
Because I know she also played with Sufjan Stevens for a while before she kind of became her own great thing.
Okay. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, there's fucking 30 people in the band.
I know that would have been awesome if you saw Saint Vincent. Essentially, it's mostly just her.
Well, it was their first tour, so it's very possible she was there. Is she from Dallas?
I don't know. I don't know where she's from.
Huh.
I've never seen her solo. I saw her tour a couple years ago she did a record with David Byrne.
Yes. Yeah, that was just last summer, right?
No.
Or was it 2 years ago?
It was more like 3 or 4.
Really? Because I know that they performed together recently at, I want to say they played Ravinia last summer.
That's where I saw them.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a while back.
Really?
It was before I was married, so it was at least 4 years ago.
All right.
I didn't love that record, but I just wanted to see David Byrne, and seeing St. Vincent was sort of a really, really great bonus, and that was an excellent show.
Yeah, she was actually the highlight when Nirvana got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when she did.
What song
I think she did All Apologies.
Whatever she did, it was really good.
It was the highlight, and then they had Kim Gordon do Tourette's, and I was like, "Oh, Kim, you need to stop singing, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Like, your days are past."
Yep.
Like, even like in Sonic Youth's heyday, her voice wasn't the best,
no,
but it was serviceable for what they did.
Sure.
You know, but her and her
that
tried
album
to sing
that they put out pretty late, like in the early 2000s. I don't remember what it was.
Was it Murray Street or
was it Rather Ripped?
Rather Ripped, yeah.
Yeah, she sounds smoky is the friendly way I would put it, but it's not like powerhouse vocals by any means, but it works.
No, like
I liked that album.
Yeah, it was a good record. Have you heard Daydream Nation?
Oh yeah,
dude, that album is like.
I've seen Sonic Youth once, thankfully, and they were opening for the Flaming Lips. I saw them.
Really?
Yeah, which sounds so weird because I love the Flaming Lips. I've seen them so many times.
But you wouldn't expect Sonic Youth to open for Flaming Lips.
It felt wrong.
But
it was excellent show.
Yeah.
They opened with Teenage Riot, which that song is fucking incredible.
Yeah. I've seen them 3 times, I want to say.
Oh, that's cool.
The last time I saw them was at the Metro.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a 3-night run at the Metro right when Ghosts of NYC came out.
Yeah.
And me and my ex at the time went. And we hung out for a while after the show, and we met Thurston and Kim. And then we went to the hot dog joint across the street. And next thing you know, the band walks in and just sits down and holds court, like eating hot dogs with us. It was awesome.
A hot dog with Thurston Moore and Lee Ronaldo.
Yeah. It was rad, dude.
Did they hit their hot dogs together?
Oh, man. But yeah, it was crazy. It was one of the craziest nights of my life. So.
That's pretty awesome. Because they put out a lot of music that I don't particularly love, but I would see them at any stage of their career.
Oh yeah,
period. Yeah,
yeah. Like I would say from like probably from Daydream Nation to like maybe Rather Ripped was just that 15-year period or 20-year period was
pretty fucking solid. What was in between that? Was it like Goo?
Oh yeah, Goo. You had Dirty. You had Experimental Trash Set or Experimental Trash Jet Set. No Star, which was like the big, Bull in the Heather was on that one.
Yep.
Then after that, I want to say it was Washing Machine, which was the first tour I saw him on.
Like Washing Machine a lot.
Yeah, I saw him on that tour. They were touring Lollapalooza with that one.
That's cool.
And then after that, I want to say they took some time off after Washing Machine, and then it was Murray Street, Ghosts of New York, Murray Street, Sonic Nurse. And then there was another one in there, but they had a 5-album run, 6-album run that was pretty fucking solid.
Yeah.
And then they released all those weird European noise records.
I'm not surprised at any of that. So when I was in high school, high school is really transitional as it is for lots of people, but for me, in terms of the music I was listening to, because I grew up a very hyper conservative sort of household, so I didn't have a lot of exposure to a lot of music until I started doing it myself and actively doing it, trying to listen to as much music as I could.
Sure.
And I saw I was taking a music appreciation class for a couple of credits, and we watched a video on John Cage. Are you familiar with John Cage?
Mm-hmm.
Strange composer.
Yeah.
Prepared piano stuff. Did I can't remember the length of time that song is. 14 minutes 33 seconds, something like that. Where it's just that length of time of silence.
Yes.
The ambient noise of the room.
Right.
And in that documentary we were watching for that, Thurston Moore, I guess, wrote a bunch of music with John Cage.
Really?
Which makes
perfect sense.
The 90s make much more sense to me with Sonic Youth's output. Why they got so much weirder, because Thurston Moore was hanging out with maybe one of the weirdest composers of all time.
Well, him and Glass.
Yeah.
Happy. You ever see that? There was a South Park that they did where they had what's his first name? Philip.
Yeah.
Philip Glass was doing music for something, and it was all happy.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's happy.
I really like Philip Glass.
Yeah, he's interesting, dude.
Yeah.
He's got
Have you ever seen what's the film that they put out that Koyaanisqatsi?
I have not.
It's really good. So he did I guess it's an album, I don't know, maybe more a composition called Koyaanisqatsi.
Okay.
And it's just it's high speed footage, time lapse footage of traffic, or and then it switches to clouds. And it's just really
abstract.
Yeah. It's just a really great way to sort of listen to that music, is watching these high-speed visuals move by really, really quickly. High speed is slow motion, so it's the opposite of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Koyaanisqatsi, highly recommended if you are at all interested in Philip Glass's music.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's a really good,
sounds really
interesting way to sort of listen to that music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. I think they did a second one. I never saw that or listened to it.
Really?
Though. Yeah.
I mean, is that something
it
that's
didn't need a sequel? Koyaanisqatsi 2? Come on.
Yeah, right. Electric Boogaloo. I wonder if they'll do it on. I wonder if I can find it on YouTube or something, because I doubt that that's something that I'm going to easily find on Netflix.
It might be not on Netflix, but it might be on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I have a DVD of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The same class was my exposure to minimalism and Philip Glass too.
Right.
Yeah. I'd never listened to Glassworks before. I still really love Glassworks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got into really weird experimental jazz through Mike Patton with John Zorn.
Of course.
Dude, Zorn's shit is just out there. It's I'm just gonna I'm gonna try to make noises through the saxophone, through the bell end of it, it's just some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then he'll have Patton scream over it,
Which I would listen to it.
Dude, when I was in college, the record store that I worked at would order anything that I wanted as long as it was available. And I was spending $40 on Japanese imports from John Zorn's Zadok label because it was the only place you could get it, because Patton screamed on a song.
Right.
I was that hyper-focused on getting my hands on anything that he'd ever did.
Yeah.
So it was...
And pre-internet, that took effort. It took
Dude,
effort.
Seriously. And I was we had one of those stand-up upright machines that had one of the first touchscreens on it, and you could type in Mike Patton, and it will bring up.
But it was really slow.
Oh, goddamn, yeah. Dude, I used to have to, they would send us discs, CDs to update the catalogs and that was my job every other month on Sundays to like load those discs in, and that machine would go down for like 2 hours.
From what little I know about like record stores, I'm surprised you were so like ahead of the times like that.
Yeah. You know, well, that's the difference between working at an independent store and working for a place like Sam Goody, which I also worked at.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Coming up here soon, within the next month or so, I'm trying to get everybody that I worked with at Sam Goody in this basement, because I'm friends with a bunch of them on Facebook right now, and just trying to get them over here just to shoot the shit and talk about the old days working for the old Goody.
Sure.
So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Where was that at?
I worked at the Sam Goody in Aurora.
Okay.
And then I ended up working at the Sam Goody in the Music Land that were at the Fox Valley Mall. Yeah. On the far west side or east side of Aurora. And then I worked for Kiss the Sky, the record store of Batavia, for 5 years. Then I moved to California and ended up working at a Sam Goody in Laguna Hills Mall in California.
Was it as fun of a... Was working at a record store, I know Sam Goody's going to be a little bit different, but was working at a record store as fun as I imagine it would be?
It was a blast. Like, seriously, like, it was high fidelity.
Yeah.
Like, when I worked at the Independence shop, it was totally high fidelity. We played...
You put on Beta Band, you're like, I'm about to sell...
three EPs.
Yeah, I'm about to sell five of these.
Copies of the Beta Band's 3 EPs. This is really good. I know. Yeah, Steve, the owner of the store, he used to call me Barry, the Jack Black character. Because I was acerbic, dude. I did not give a fuck. Like, kids used to come in like...
Strong opinions?
Oh, dude,
you?
no,
Really?
never me. But, like, this one kid came in, and his dumb buddy was with him, and he was buying some stupid fucking Dave Matthews Band CD or some shit. And his buddy's like, dude, why are you buying it? Why don't you just burn it from me? And I'm like, why don't you guys go to the fucking mall? Like, I don't need your money. And then Steve's like, don't ever tell anybody to go to the mall ever again.
So it was like high fidelity. High fidelity if he had a boss like reining him in.
Sure. Yeah. Well, he didn't rein...
Maybe that would be a little bit more of an interesting movie.
Yeah. I didn't get reined in too much, though. Like, I used to tell people the shit sucked all the time. I'm like, I don't know why you're buying that. That fucking sucks. Like, I've listened to that album. It's not good. So, but yeah, I missed, like, doing midnight sales.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so much fun. Like, yeah, you're tired as fuck the next day, but, like, you know, get up, go to the store, have a line of people outside.
People that are excited about...
Dude, yeah, now it's just like...
Something specific coming out, yeah.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, I'll pre-order it. Oh, it's there. You know, and now it's not even like I'll pre-order it. They're like, oh, it's streaming.
Yeah.
Good.
Or it's streaming a week early.
Yeah, which, what's the point of even a release date at this point?
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
I'm not going to complain, because sometimes they'll stream, like, an album that I'm really, really wanting to listen to, like, a week earlier.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Like when Eminem dropped his album this year, just out of nowhere. Like, what the fuck? All of a sudden, like, there was no hype to it whatsoever. They're like, oh, yeah, there's a new Eminem album out. And I'm like, oh. Well, hopefully it's better than the last piece of shit that he put out. Like...
I only listened to it once, and I wasn't really that into it.
The new one?
Yeah.
The Kamikaze album?
Yeah. I'm not a big Eminem fan.
Yeah, see, I've been listening to him since the beginning.
Yeah.
You know,
he sounds like a white cartoon character rapping to me.
Kind of nowadays, yeah. He's almost a parody of himself, but like he's trading in his skill for just rapping faster.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
I
appreciate it, but I think there are people that can rap faster
with skill.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like
I think of like Busta Rhymes. He's super fast.
Yeah.
He doesn't like put out much music anymore.
No, because he knows that it's time to stop.
Yeah.
You know, with M, like his cultural references are stuck in in like 2004.
Yep.
Like, dude, get out of your house.
And I also don't really feel like I need to listen to like an angry white rapper either.
Yeah.
Because he just has sort of an angry tone to him pretty much all the time. Even like in interviews and stuff like that. It seems kind of almost kitschy at this point.
Yeah, because I mean, he was playful. And, you know, there's like... There was a point where, like, he was angry, but he was playful and angry,
right.
You know. And now that playfulness is just gone. It just
becomes like a novelty that just wears itself really thin.
Yeah, he's just a 45-year-old pissed off rich white guy living in Detroit in the hollows of his house because he doesn't. He
should have stayed poor.
Yeah, right. You should have just never made that money.
I think I think that I remember the breaking point for me. Like, I'm not really that into Eminem. I don't know what album it was. I can't remember what song. Sorry. He did like a music video with Dre. No surprise, where he was Robin and
oh yeah, it was
Dre
off the Eminem
Batman.
show. Yeah.
And once I heard him like do like the weird, I guess it's supposed to be kind of goofy, funny singing, like yeah, like this is stupid. I don't ever want to listen to this ever again.
Right.
Nah, I'm done with him.
See, and then he put out the Recovery record, which was a great fucking record.
I probably have heard it, but I couldn't tell you a song.
You know, if you wanted to hear Eminem like at top talent, not doing dumb voices and just being like Eminem from 8 Mile, where it was just like, look, this is me. Yeah. This isn't Slim Shady. This is Eminem. Like, this is Marshall Mathers putting a fucking record out. The Recovery record was fucking excellent. Huh. Like, he had finally gotten clean and sober, and he just laid his cards out on the table. It was a fucking great record. And then he came back with Marshall Mathers 2. I'm like, why are you retreading old ground? You know? But right. I will say...
because it makes money.
Yeah. It's branding.
Yeah. And... like, I'm sure, not to just call it, not just sort of blame it on, like, him being a greedy person. I don't know that about him. But writing music is difficult.
Yeah.
And it's probably a lot more difficult for some people than it is for others. So, like, when you're successful or as super successful as he is, I think I totally kind of get the appeal of
sure
writing a safe record.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about the Marshall Mathers 2 was the first song was I didn't even realize what I was listening to until the very end, and you find out that it was a sequel to Stan. Like
how do you find out at the end?
Because he's writing from Stan's little brother's perspective.
Sure.
So you know how like you something about how during Stan he was like, you left me and my brother out in the cold for we waited 4 hours. He's your favorite rapper, blah blah blah, or you're his favorite rapper, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning of it, it's like of the song, it's like, oh yeah, typical Eminem song. He's gonna make somebody pay for wronging him in some way, and then at the very end, you hear him say something about well, here's your fucking starter hat back. I don't even want that shit, bitch. Because like at the end of Stan, Eminem writes as himself. He's like, here's a starter hat for your little brother. And then you find out that it's Stan's little brother all grown up who went to kidnap Eminem for making Stan go over the edge. Huh. So it was kind of an interesting turn. It was like I actually got goosebumps the first time I heard it. I was like, holy the fuck, this is pretty interesting.
Because you were familiar enough with like his music to put that together.
Absolutely.
I would not be.
Right. So, but
that's cool.
It was cool. Like I was like, wow, that's innovative.
And it wasn't marketed as like a sequel to that.
No, like that first song was not at all, and even the title of the song was not like even in reference to Stan.
Right.
So I think it was called "The Bad Guy." You'll make me the bad guy, or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. But it was a great fucking song, dude. But the rest of the album, it had some good songs on it, but it wasn't that great. So,
right.
But yeah, let's see here, Marshall Mathers. Let's see if my Wi-Fi works. It's been shitty down here. I'm thinking about running Ethernet down here to connect this, and thinking about setting up my Apple TV on that. So like we could do for when I do my Netflix and chill episodes, we can actually do maybe an MST3K kind of commentary track to it.
Yeah.
So I just got to get the other Apple TV set up down here. So
have you ever listened to I don't know the Mystery Science Theater 3000, 2000 people. I think one of them or two of them were related to it. Have you ever heard of Riff Tracks?
Yes. I've never listened to it because you have to pay for it.
Right.
But no, I've heard of it. I've heard it's excellent.
I've watched some of them. It's been quite a while since then, but I've laughed really, really hard at some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch MST3K back in the day when it was still on Comedy Central.
I think I did too, but I was super young then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen any of the revivals that have been on Netflix?
No.
Jonah Ray from Nerdist is actually the host of it now.
Huh.
And he got Joel, whatever his name is, the creator, they got his blessing to do the show.
That's cool.
And he was kind of a consultant, I think, on the first season. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard great things. But
Patton Oswalt, does he have some kind of connection to that?
I think he does.
Huh.
I think he does. But then again, Patton Oswalt's got a connection to fucking everything.
Everything nerdy.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Happy on Sci-Fi?
No, I did not.
Dude, it was Chris Maloney, who was in he was in Law and Order SVU CD FM.
Yeah.
He was in that for years
like,
and years and years.
American Wet Hot Summer. Or
yes, he played the cook.
Yes,
the psychotic Vietnam.
Happy. I've seen that on my suggestions of things to watch.
Yeah,
I don't watch it.
Well, he plays this like drunked out, washed out, like disgraced detective.
Harold and Kumar. That's like what doesn't surprise me. He had like a really really weird
Did he?
hilarious like bit role on that, and so that sort of. Happy and what I know of that makes sense to me now because of that.
Yeah,
yep.
It's based off of a comic book written by Grant Morrison.
Huh? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he's like this drunked out cop. He finds out that like his daughter gets kidnapped. His estranged daughter gets kidnapped by this psychotic motherfucker, and her little unicorn imaginary friend pops up and starts talking to him.
But you don't know why?
No. But it's Patton Oswalt as the voice of the unicorn. And, like, dude, it's fucking hilarious. And it was a short season. I think it was like 6 episodes. 6-8 episodes or something like that.
Minimal commitment. I'll check that out.
Yeah, like
I'm not ready for a 20-episode dive
no.
into a show that I don't know much about.
No. And it's not a procedural, but it's just one of those, it could almost be a noir if it wasn't so bonkers because of the imaginary friend aspect of it.
Right.
It's pretty good. It's worth a watch for sure. The comic was actually really good as well, so it was definitely worth checking out.
Who wrote?
Grant Morrison.
Okay.
So are you familiar with Grant Morrison's work?
I don't think so.
No, he hasn't done anything that's been like massively like pop culture, outside of the comic world, but he did that. And he's done a lot of stuff. Like, if anybody that you talk to that, is a comic book fan or what of any measure, like, you ask them about Grant Morrison, they'll tell you, like, his shit is out there. Like, he wrote Batman for a few years, and his Batman runs were pretty good. He did this series called Nameless, which was like a satanic space horror odyssey.
Interesting.
Which was fucking great.
Yeah.
It was really fucking good.
I'll have to check him out.
And Chris Burnham did the art. He's the guy that did the art on this poster here. But, like, he drew some fucking, like, I'll show you some. I might even have a copy of the first issue or something I could give you that I may have a double of. But his drawings are so fucking, like, violent and just, like, crazy. Like, just left field shit. Like, it's fucked up. It truly, truly is fucked up. Like, have you seen Event Horizon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That one scene where they flash and you can see, like, the snakes going out of the mouth and into the eyes and all that. That is basically, like, the last 2 issues of Nameless.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
I'm into that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a check.
Grant Morrison?
I'll
check him out for sure.
Yeah, he's a Scottish bloke.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But his stuff is very like heavily influenced with like mysticism and paganism, Satanism.
Sure.
Very out there somewhere in like the ether somewhere.
Yeah, which 10 years ago I would have been like, oh no, I can't read any of that. But now I'm like,
I can't read that. I'll go to hell. And now you're like,
but now I'm like,
that doesn't exist.
That sounds really interesting.
Dude, did you watch, do you watch much Netflix shit?
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
I did not.
Dude, it's excellent.
I saw that. I think that came out right out at the tail end of me watching, what's the short show with Jonah Hill and
Maniac?
Yeah,
dude, Maniac was awesome.
I loved it, but I felt like I had to take a short break from Netflix for a bit.
Really?
Yeah, I loved that show.
It was crazy.
Have you watched Leftovers on HBO?
I saw the first season and I listened to the audiobook.
So I think a guy who wrote for Leftovers
really
was like the showrunner for Maniac.
Interesting. Okay.
Which I saw a lot of parallels.
Okay.
Not with season 1, but with season 2 and some with season 3. But I highly recommend, if you liked Maniac a lot, like continuing with Leftovers, because season 2 was fantastic, and season 3 was phenomenal.
See, because season 1 was great because it was just what the fuck happened.
It only gets better.
And then season 2,
and I'll just straight up tell you because Damon Lindelof, who was the showrunner for that show, and I think he was one of the two big writers for Lost.
Yes.
He straight up said in the middle of season 2, you're not gonna get an answer for what happened.
Well, that's great because who wants an answer? Yeah,
I love that because a lot of people want an answer. They want to know what happened.
Well, it's
that's not the point. It's about the world that exists after that thing. It doesn't matter. The thing doesn't matter. It just happened.
Well, even the guy that wrote the book, I didn't read it. I listened to it.
Sure.
And there was no explanation in the book.
I appreciate that.
And there was no
That's a hard commitment.
Yeah, and the book varied a lot from the TV show.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to.
Right.
But still, the ending of the book was different than the ending of the first season. The one dude that was nailing all the Asian chicks, getting all the girls pregnant.
Yes.
The cult leader.
Yep.
Total C storyline, D storyline in the book.
Kind of in the show too.
Well, the first season they made it kind of a plot point though, because his son is being a follower of him.
Sure.
Not even in the book.
Yeah.
It was different.
And it kind of tapers off. It becomes in the later seasons, it's not really about him. It's about one of the women he gets pregnant.
Right.
Is the more significant storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But season 2, in particular, has an episode called International Assassins, which that episode is what Maniac reminded me the most of.
Really?
And it's one of my favorite episodes of any TV show ever.
Really?
Oh, it's so good.
I don't think it's on Netflix anymore, is it?
No, you'd have to have
HBO streaming shit.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know anybody with HBO. Fuck. Sweet. Yeah, because Game of Thrones is coming back in, I want to say in July.
I don't know when. I don't love that show as much as everybody, but I do like it a lot.
It's so good.
I do watch it every. I watch it
when
live when I can,
out.
or within minutes of it ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the last season was mostly hits, but some misses. But the Battle of the Bastards episode was out of this world good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you find out, I'm just waiting to find out, our, is the Mother of Dragons and Jon Snow, are they brother and sister? Half brother and sister?
Yeah, I think we know that already.
Yeah, it's oof.
I have no idea how they could end that. I don't even know if it's a short season. If it's going to be.
Well, it is. They said it is going to be a short season.
I don't know how they could wrap that up.
I don't know. Somebody's going to have to die. And dude, zombie dragon? Come on.
Yeah.
Zombie ice dragon? Holy the shit, dude.
Yeah, and the dragons were a big sort of not polarizing, something I didn't really like about the show. But then this last season in the episode where I think she's riding it, and what's the mercenary? He was a pretty major character now. Bran? Is that his name?
No, Bran was the...
No, Bran's the
brother.
The paralyzed kid. I can't remember his name.
They've got so many fucking characters in the show, but...
He's sort of paired with Jaime Lannister. He gives him shit all the time, doesn't treat him like Lannister royalty. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
I love that dude.
The
episode where the big fight with the dragon, he's on some sort of it's like a harpoon of sorts.
Yeah.
I thought that battle was pretty cool. The dragons, I think, are pretty shitty in that show most of the time, but they were pretty good this last season.
Yeah, I think that they're animated well. For
mostly
the special effect, dude, for being a television show.
Sorry, I'm moving the table.
But yeah, I mean, just for being a TV show, that those things cost some bucks.
I cut them some slack most of the time.
Right.
I just don't I don't think it's the greatest show ever made. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you've watched Maniac because I really haven't had many people to talk about Maniac. It was I
loved Maniac.
It was an acting class. It was a master's class in acting, especially the last 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Where they went deep into different characters. Oh, my God.
I don't know if a character has ever made me, personally in real life, feel so depressed.
Than Jonah Hill's?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I felt bad watching him.
Oh, yeah. He was just so awkward and Just
and
like
knowing that he was like suffering from like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And like wanted to do something about it, was aware of it, but couldn't do anything about it. Oh man!
But the funny thing is, like, he never showed. We never saw any signs of his schizophrenia.
No.
Like they just talked about it. Oh, like you're schizophrenic.
Oh, it's like he's gotten to the point where he's just like numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just total like just stoic.
Yeah.
Just not feeling shit. And then, Emma Stone is exactly the opposite.
Right.
And she's trying to be stoic. The only reason that she got into the drug trial was because she had been taking the drug already which was weird, just to keep reliving her sister's death.
Right.
Which is nuts.
But it's the only connection she had with her sister anymore.
Right.
Makes sense. But
yeah. But I just love the fact that, like, it was like this character study, like I said, in the last 5 episodes, when they started actually getting into the drug trial, and
right.
you could see like the hallucinations or whatever type of dream states that they were in, like the white trash characters that they played.
Yep.
The best was
like the 80s, like white trash, where he's got like
the mullet,
that really great mullet.
Dude, it was fantastic.
that was the first part of that show where I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
Right.
But then once it sort of wrapped up that sort of timeline, I was like, "Yeah, I like this."
And then they did like the whole Great Gatsby kind of 20s thing where he was like a gangster or whatever, and that was great. And then, dude, I talked to Tom about it when we were doing Netflix and chill.
Before you continue, that was surprisingly great, like action shootout scene.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. But the episode I dug the most was when they actually didn't cross in the dream state. He was the cholo gangster.
Yeah.
And she was in the fantasy realm.
Yeah.
Like, that was my favorite episode out of all of them.
If you liked that, you should seriously keep watching, like, Leftovers.
Really?
Yeah.
Right on.
It sort of hits a lot of similar notes.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets really fucking weird.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But then I loved also how, like, and I said this in the last episode, one of the last episodes that I put up, like, then you get to, like, the scientists part, and it's totally schlock, cheesy 80s, like...
Justin Thoreau?
Yeah, Justin Thoreau. Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's just, like, such a shitty, like, the set is really lame, and, like, the one chick is constantly smoking.
The computer is really
lame.
Yeah,
the computer looks like it was something from, like what they thought computers were going to be like in 1990, But yeah, it was fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you got that whole comedy aspect of what's going on there, but it's taking so dryly and so seriously, like, but it's played for laughs.
Yep.
And now that I think about it, like the partner, the one Asian chick that was the lab partner, like she's constantly smoking the entire time,
right.
which, again, in the Leftovers, they were the smoking people or whatever they were called. The smokers.
I don't remember what called the smokers, but yeah.
Yeah, and I still don't understand. The silent, what was it? The guilty...
Remnant.
The guilty remnant.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Guilty remnant, yep.
Yeah, and I still don't understand that whole that thing.
You kind of find out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty weird, but you find out.
Okay. Yep. All right, I'm going to have to dive back into that.
Yeah. I should rewatch that show. I loved that show.
Yeah.
And I felt like 3 seasons was
enough.
Yeah. I appreciate that they wrapped it up, that they didn't keep going, they didn't try to stretch it out because it was a successful show.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes shows wear out their welcome.
Right.
And I like when they sort of
now they
put a period on it.
They were all like 10, 15 episode seasons?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, like give me 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Unless you got a real expansive story to tell, 10 episodes is good.
The last season, he was in every season, but the last season 3 featured really heavily. I can never remember the guy's name. He played his dad, Justin Thoreau's dad.
Oh, yeah.
He was like Bishop in the Alien movies.
Yeah, and he also was...
that guy is so good.
Yeah, he was...
maybe he wasn't Bishop.
He wasn't. He was in...
the guy reminds me of Bishop, though.
Yeah. No. He was...
I think he's what they call a character actor.
He was very much a character actor. He was the guy that played... He was in Daredevil.
X-Files? Was he in X-Files?
He may have been in an episode or so. But he was definitely in Daredevil. He played Stick in Daredevil.
Yeah, which was fine.
Dude, that first season of Daredevil was excellent, though.
I mean, as far as... And the second. I like the second a lot.
I haven't finished watching the third season yet.
I haven't. I got a couple episodes and I'm just gonna taper it off.
Same thing here. Like, and I love those shows, but like
I love the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. Really enjoyed Jessica Jones season 1.
Mm-hmm. Season 2 I thought was pretty damn good too.
Haven't seen it. I watched half of the first season of Luke Cage and I was like, I don't really care about any of this.
Really?
Nah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Luke Cage was pretty solid.
And then Iron Fist. Iron Fist was
the
bad.
First Iron Fist season was fucking awful. The second season was actually better.
That's what I hear.
So, and then Punisher season 2 comes out next week.
I did enjoy Punisher as a character and their sort of adaptation of him a lot.
Yeah, well, John Barenthal is just amazing.
I wouldn't have said that before I saw him in that show.
Really?
No. I think I've seen him in Walking Dead and I saw him in... What was the tank movie? Fury? He was like a cartoon character in that movie.
Yeah. I want to say he was also in Friends. He was in an episode of Friends or 2.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. He was in one of those shows. It was either Friends or something else. I can't remember what it was. But he was definitely in one of those.
Huh.
But he had total, like, not a shaved head. He had, like, a total 90s haircut and stuff. It was pretty funny.
I saw on Netflix not too long ago, it was a Punisher movie.
Was it Warzone? I heard that one's actually pretty good.
You haven't seen it?
No.
I don't think the movie was that great, but I think the guy that they had play Punisher, who I don't know his name at all. I've only seen him in very obscure stuff. I think he was a better Punisher than
Barenthal?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
The movie was kind of lame, but I feel like that wasn't his fault.
Ray Stevenson?
Yeah.
Oh God, Dominic West was in that?
Yeah, he was Jigsaw.
Crazy.
Yeah, his face gets all messed up.
Yeah, he plays Billy. Crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
It felt like watching like a feature film length like Netflix show.
Yeah.
Like not quite like AAA budget, which is nothing wrong with that.
Well, this one was actually direct to video too.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't. That actually had an opening weekend.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it was a wide release too.
It was ultra violent. Like
That's
Punisher like cuts people's heads off.
Well, that was how Punisher was.
Right.
I mean, if you like read the comics, like he was fucked up, dude. Like, total PTSD. He did not give a shit. Like, but Lexi Alexander, the director, she directed a bunch of episodes of Arrow, Green Street Hooligans with Elijah Wood.
Yeah, I remember that. And the dude from Sons of Anarchy, I don't know his name, British guy, blonde-haired guy with the beard.
Yeah. Oh, what's his name? The guy who played Jax.
Yes, and King Arthur in that really bad King Arthur movie last year.
We don't need any more. We don't need any more King Arthur movies.
There's another one coming out.
Yeah, but that one's like a kid. That's a kid's movie.
We don't need that one either.
Yeah,
you can make better kids movies. I saw that. It was the trailer before Spider-Man.
Yes,
I know you saw that,
dude. That was dope.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
Oh man. I think that might have been my favorite movie of 2018.
Seriously?
I liked it so much I saw it a second time, and I don't do that for anything but Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
I may have to go see it again because I was also dealing with a 4-year-old and a 2. Well,
of course,
a 2-year-old. My 4-year-old totally enthralled. Like he was in.
That's cool.
He was in it to win it. My 2-year-old got about an hour and a half into it and couldn't have given a fuck less. Like it was bad.
What does that look like?
He starts getting down from the chair, walking around the theater, starting to talk loudly.
So basically, the other like patrons that I don't want to be anywhere near when I'm at the
theater. Exactly. Well, in all fairness, when I bought my tickets online, we were the only people in the theater because you prepay and it's all assigned seating now.
Yep.
And then we get there and it's a semi-full theater, and I'm like, motherfucker! All right, so. Here, eat popcorn. Just be quiet. Yeah, but that was excellent, dude. The animation was cool in it.
I think that movie, and I don't know this is a completely uninformed opinion, but if I had to guess, I would say that movie is going to be looked at as like a milestone in like contemporary animation.
I would say so. It almost.
I wouldn't know. It felt groundbreaking to me.
Yeah, like it did because it was like. It almost looked like they took the video gaming shade cell or cell shading animation
but only for like the characters.
Yeah.
The rest of it didn't look like that.
Right.
It was like clashing animation styles, but it all worked.
Yeah, and they paid a lot of homage to the comic books as well.
You could see. I don't know what about comic books. What is it that makes it look like dots?
The pixelation.
It's printed, and then you saw like the shading lines
Yeah.
too. That was awesome.
And there were times when they're like, did I pay for the 3D version of this movie? Why is it the red and blue off?
Yeah.
But it also, that was paying homage to the old school printing, where sometimes, like, because they would print in 4 colors. So they'd print like one run and it would be the yellow, the green, the blue,
right.
you know. And what would happen was sometimes the printing presses wouldn't line up properly. So you would get off lines like that. So that's why in the background sometimes, like, you would see the blue on the right and the yellow on the left, or the red on the left, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I didn't know that, but I did notice that for sure.
And it was totally paying homage to all of that.
And you also kind of just get used to it watching it.
Yeah. After a while, you're just like, okay, that's just what the backgrounds look like.
Yeah.
You know, but I like what they did with all the Spider-Man characters. Jake Johnson was awesome.
I was dying, like that whole first like big action sequence with him wearing the sweatpants.
Yeah, totally. And then like they had it was Chris Pine that did the voice of the first.
I looked it up after.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't use like one of the original Spider-Man actors. I didn't think that they would use Garfield, but maybe Andrew Garfield played.
Yeah.
He was Spider-Man in The Amazing Spider-Man,
of course.
Or even use Tom Holland, since he is the current Spider. Yeah, but I mean, it would have kind of tied it into the overall universe.
Because he sounded older, clearly, and he was supposed to be older.
True.
That is like an underrepresented, like, Spider-Man on big movie screens, I think.
Yeah, but
I liked that.
You know what, though? Like, all of the Spider-Men, with the exception of Tom Holland, have been older guys. You know,
they had to establish for the purpose of the story that he was older and had been around for a while,
doing it for 10 years,
and for like the city to mourn him.
Yeah,
to mourn Spider-Man dying. Sorry,
right? Spoilers. Go fuck yourself.
There's a bunch of Spider-Man in the movie.
Yeah, like look, there's 19 Spider-Men in the movie. There's a pig that's Spider-Man, voiced by John Mulaney, who actually was great. You know, I did not realize I had never seen any of John Mulaney's stuff.
Oh, he's super funny.
Until like the last comedy special that he put out on Netflix.
Was it Kid Gorgeous?
Yes.
Or New in Town or Kid Gorgeous?
I think it was Kid Gorgeous.
Okay.
And I watched the first half of it, and it took me a minute to get used to his voice.
Oh yeah, he sounds like that. He sounds like Peter Porker to me now.
Yeah, I'm like, is he just putting on an affectation? And I'm like, no, this is how the guy talks.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, it took me a minute to like, all right, this is how he talks. All right, okay, just get over his voice and just listen to what he's got to say. And he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's got a couple other specials that are worth listening to.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Chicago. He was born and raised in Lincoln Park.
If I'm not mistaken, he was the one that did the joke about how they used to go to this restaurant all the time.
Salt and Pepper Cafe?
Yes, and he would put on What's New Pussycat?
Yep.
And like they just filled the thing, and then all of a sudden they put on, what was the other one? It's Not Unusual to Be Loved by You, and the guy was like finally like...
I think they did it like once, and then they went back
Then they went back
playing.
to it, and the guy like lost his shit. I heard that bit. That bit was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I saw him last year do Kid Gorgeous before that came out on Netflix, and because he was like playing to a hometown crowd, he had some high school buddy of his that played jazz, like a professional jazz drummer, come out, and he did just that bit. Like he announced he was going to do just that joke, so everybody heard it, so everybody got excited about it. But the guy did like sort of jazz drumming to it, so he sort of changed his cadence to it. I would watch an entire comedy set of that. You're
right. It reminds me of Mitch Hedberg's first album, where it's all he's got the bassist in the background.
Yep.
Yeah,
which is good. Or like, I feel like this was one of the first things I ever watched on streaming Netflix. It was like Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, the Purple Onion,
and just dicking around on the piano.
Yeah. I remember in one of the first they used to do these. Oh God, what were they? They were a comedy special on, but it was like a big like comedy festival thing that they would do on Just for Laughs. It wasn't Just for Laughs. It was like Robin Williams, Billy Crystal, and Whoopi Goldberg would put it on, and it was a charity event.
Huh.
And they would get all these comedians from everywhere, and they had Robert Wuhl come out.
Robert Wuhl.
Have you seen the original Batman, the 1989 Batman?
With Michael Keaton, of
course.
course.
He played Allie Knox.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he had an HBO show, Arliss.
Arliss, yeah, but he was a stand-up comedian as well.
Oh, okay.
And he did this whole bit. They brought out this grand piano, and he sits down, and he starts bashing on the keys, and he sings a song. I can't play the piano. Oh, they got really pissed when I asked him to bring this thing out. But yeah, God, what the fuck was the name of that comedy special? But they used to do one every year, and it would benefit it was back when people cared about the famine in Africa.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it was those Robin Williams, and Billy Crystal and Whoopi Goldberg that would put it on.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was and they were always good. Like the first time I ever heard, oh God, what the fuck is? Oh man, my brain is just not working tonight. Dave Coulier.
Yeah.
Dropped fuck on the series on the show.
I don't think I've ever heard Uncle Joey say fuck.
Yeah, he was doing Yosemite Sam. And he's like, just one time I want to hear Yosemite Sam say, I hate that fucking rabbit. And I was like, oh.
That's pretty funny.
Dude, seriously. Because he can do it just like his impersonations are spot on.
Yeah.
So back to the albums. Anything else that's been...
I'd have to look. Again, I've only been listening to them for a month and a half or so. Albums that I really like. That were really popular, apparently, but I didn't know about them.
All right.
Sorry, this is not that interesting.
Dead Air is okay. Always okay. This is like I always say that this. I feel like this is the time when my listeners go and take a piss.
So U.S. Girls.
Okay.
You like I don't know. I still don't know how to say their name. Haim.
I love Haim.
Like a more sort of upbeat, even more poppy version of them.
Really?
Yeah, kind of similar vibes though. Not as like there's not dense vocal harmonies happening on U.S. Girls, but I think you might like that. It's a good, like pop rock, female fronted album.
Okay, right here, I see it.
That's the one.
All right, I'll check this out.
It's pretty good.
Is it a Poem Unlimited? God, they've got like 6 albums out.
Poem Unlimited is the album that she put out in 2018. Yeah.
All right, I'll check that one out.
Where do you have a place or person that you look to discover new music or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I'll just listen to anything people recommend to me.
I mean, I intentionally try to look at people's lists. So I know everybody shits on Pitchfork, and I take pretty much everything I read from them with a grain of salt. Do you look at Pitchfork ever?
No, I don't have time. I got 2 kids. I don't have time to look at the internet.
So they get ripped on because their reviews tend to be they sound pretentious.
Yeah.
And then they give notoriously low scores to albums that people enjoy.
Sure.
But I think their scoring system is the thing that I appreciate the most about them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think an album that gets a 7 out of 10 should be considered bad.
Right.
They give a lot of stuff like right in the middle, like 5.
Mm-hmm.
Albums that I enjoy, they'll give like a 5. I'm not like offended by that.
Right.
I don't think a 5 we shouldn't think of it like grade school scoring. Like
yeah, it's not
like a 59 and below is failing. No, 5 should be like average.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Sure. Yeah, who I do not go to is the AV Club. The Onion's AV Club is fucking pretentious as fuck.
Don't ever read Pitchfork then.
Oh God. I think I've read some reviews on Pitchfork and I'm just like, fuck these assholes. Like, I don't need to... Look, if I wanted an opinionated asshole telling me about albums, I'll listen to it myself and talk.
So, I may be just, like, really naive to think that this is something new. I don't think it's something new, but it's something I've only, like, recently observed, like, in reading their top 50 albums of 2018 kind of lists, is that... Because I've read Pitchfork since I was in high school, which was, like, I graduated in 2006. They appreciated very, very different music back then and like, sort of pushed that. And it's changed a lot as time has gone on. And it's kind of weird now that I've been thinking about it. And I didn't come up with this idea. It was a friend of mine. We were talking about their list, how their top 50 list is super, super heavy with like hip hop. Some of it obscure, some of it pretty mainstream.
That's a lot of what's coming out anymore.
And then a lot of it, like it almost feels like a hard push for like female fronted pop music. Like I think they put like Ariana Grande's album at like number 8 of the best albums 2018, which you're putting your eyebrow up. I kind of did the same thing, like, really?
Although I have heard that it was a really good fucking record.
And I'm not saying it's bad, but like
I don't
everybody who put out music in 2018, you think that that's in the top 10 best?
Yeah, did Arista pay you for that or whatever her label is?
But the observation that my buddy kind of came up with, and the more I think about it, the more I feel like it's true, is, and this is what I think is sort of not new, and I'm naive to think it is that they just pick what kind of image like they want their brand to have.
Sure.
And they're like, this is our favorite music.
Right.
It's not like...
Well, Rolling Stone's done the same thing for 50 years.
Sure.
You know?
And that sort of what they want to push has just changed over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's... I'd never read Rolling Stone consistently. I didn't...
I mean, when I was back working at the record stores, there was always kind of the underlying joke that they didn't give 5 stars to anything but box sets and U2 albums.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'll have to check it out.
So my go-to for like trying to sort of discover new music has been mostly like YouTube people.
Really?
There's a guy, his channel's called like The Needle Drop. His name is Anthony Fantano, which I'm sure he's polarizing for some people who know him. He has like sort of a really nice mix of like he likes pop music, he likes hip hop, but then he doesn't neglect the heavy music, which is what so many people who do like music reviews and stuff tend to neglect, which I get. It can be kind of a difficult sort of genre, and all the subgenre can be difficult to get into. But Anthony Fantano is his name. He doesn't neglect that at all, which I think that kind of just reflects my own tastes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I used to listen to this podcast called Velocities in Music.
Okay.
It was these 2 dudes out of Iowa who would just like consume every album that came out, and then they'd give you like a weekly or a monthly like rundown of the albums of the month.
Huh.
And like it got to the point where one of the dudes actually moved to like Arizona or some
That's
shit.
Gonna be so difficult to do.
Yeah. So they just I don't know, it was like months, and then they put out another podcast, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna wait around for these guys to fucking put some shit out. But it was interesting because like they would literally like I don't know how they would do it. They had to have like subscribed to a streaming service or something, because you just can't listen to all of that rap music, you know, and pay for it all and have a family. There's just no way.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I don't know. And then part of me is like, can you really give a solid review to something that like you listen to twice?
Right.
You know, if you're trying to consume everything, you know. But that's how I found out about there's this one artist that they played that she was fucking great. I've got her album. I can't remember her name at the moment. But no, a lot of times I'll like they'll be playing interesting shit on TV scores and movie scores and stuff like this, and I'll look it up what they're playing. You know, CW shows are really good for that. Like they'll play like a song at the end of a show or something. I'll look it up. Or,
I've done that numerous times with Shameless on Showtime, which I think I'm current on that show.
I'm not.
My wife really, really loves that show, but I'll occasionally like whip up my phone and just like do Shazam on some of the songs on that show. Yeah,
that show's great. Like I don't know, like obviously I did
I'm not as into it as I used to be, but it's fine.
Yeah, we don't have Showtime, so I borrow a friend of mine's info. But I haven't watched it. I missed the second half of the season, this last season, so it's like
it's more of the same.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I hear the chick that's playing Fiona is no longer going to be on the show.
Correct.
I don't know how they handled her exit. And I also heard the guy that's playing Ian is no longer going to be on the show either. So I don't know how they did his exit either.
Yep. I do.
Right, I'm sure you do if you're current with it. So, yeah, it's one of those I just need to dive back in and just plow through the last half of the season.
Yeah, and if you like the show, it's more the same, so it's good. It's
but I can't see how, like, season 10, like, at this point, like, dude, 5-6 seasons of a show is good.
Well, that's what I was saying with Leftovers. I appreciated that they just we're just done after 3. That's it.
Well, it's like Breaking Bad. Those were the 5 seasons of
was just solid.
Perfect show.
Yeah.
Like there may have been a dud episode here and there.
The only part of that show that I did not particularly love, I still enjoyed it, but wasn't up to the standard of the rest of that show for me, was the first half of the last season, which there was that year-long break between them.
Sure.
I just didn't think those episodes were that great.
Stellar, but they were still great.
But then they came back with the end of season 5, and holy shit, was that good.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it ended the way that it needed to end.
Yeah.
And you didn't need any more of those characters.
Have you heard that they're coming out with some kind of movie related to that somehow?
Really?
Yeah.
I know.
Nobody knows what, but Vince Gilligan is writing it.
Really?
I think the speculation it has something to do with Jesse, which a lot of people are like, just don't touch his story.
Yeah, he was fine. He was a tragic character.
And I don't want to know anything about those characters, but I would do you watch Better Call Saul?
Nope.
You should if you liked Breaking Bad.
I tried. I tried the first season and it was rough.
Oh, I didn't think so.
Really? Because it's like I didn't care. Like Saul was a character I didn't give a fuck about in Breaking Bad.
If you like Breaking Bad that much, you should give it a chance. Because after the first season in particular, sort of the callbacks, there's a callback in the first season with Tuco. I thought that was kind of lame.
He was the ding ding ding.
No, Tuco was his nephew with the grill who...
Yeah.
Just the super amped up on meth kind of...
Sure, yeah.
He punches a guy and then he's like, oh, look at the blood on my knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of guy.
Okay.
I think some guys working for Saul tried to scam his grandmother or something in the first season. That was kind of stupid, but they kind of get that shit out of the way.
Sure.
And kind of it gives that show its own voice after that.
Okay.
I recommend it if you liked Breaking Bad because they feel tonally very connected.
Sure. I'm going to point this at your face.
Which that excites me.
Sure.
The movie excites me if they put it in that universe.
Yeah.
But don't include any of those characters because I think they've established a really great, somewhat mostly realistic feeling universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't feel give me an original story set in somewhere near Albuquerque. I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
I'd be all about that.
The Breaking Bad house, they have
oh yeah,
a watch because people keep throwing pizzas on the roof of the house.
Yep.
Years, because Breaking Bad's been done for 5 years now, hasn't it? 6 years?
Sucks.
So it's 6 years later, these poor assholes are trying to live in their house, scraping pizzas off the roof every other week. I read
that Bryan Cranston miraculously did that on the first take.
Really?
Yeah, because it's perfect. He has a complete pizza up on the roof, and it stays complete.
Right. They must not have sliced it. So, but yeah, dude, Breaking Bad was such a great fucking show.
Yes.
So, but dude, if you get a chance, check out, if you like just that weird occultist kind of stuff, check out Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I will. I haven't been not watching it on purpose.
Yeah, it is so the absolute polar opposite of the Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah.
They love them some Satan on that show.
Well, I've heard that it's very different. So I was really surprised to see that with advertising or marketing with that, they had Melissa Joan Hart and whatever the dude who played Harvey was from the ABC TGIF show.
Mm-hmm.
They had them doing commercials.
Did they
it.
really?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very true to the rebooted comic book that they did.
I couldn't have even told you before this new one came out that it was a comic book.
Yeah.
I looked it up and realized that was the case.
Yeah, well, Sabrina was from the Archie comics to begin with.
Oh.
And they rebooted it a few years ago as The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
The comic books?
Yes.
Okay.
And they put out an issue, and I bought it, and it was fucking excellent. And then it was 9 months before they put the next issue out, and I'm like, well, fuck this. I'm not gonna waste my time with this. And then the TV show came out, and the TV show has been fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah. It's got, did you ever watch, you've seen Shaun of the Dead, right?
Of course.
The uptight dude and his girlfriend?
Yes.
The roommate of Sean's girlfriend?
Yes.
All right. Dude's girlfriend is in it.
Okay.
So she's one of the characters in it.
No, it's Don Draper's daughter from Mad Men is Sabrina.
Yes. Yeah. And then, did you watch Doctor Who at all?
No.
No. Okay. The woman who played the Master is also in it, and she's excellent. So it's fucking good, dude. Like, there was like a blood oath that was signed and by Sabrina's parents, and she's supposed to like give herself to the Lord Satan. You sign her name into the Book of Death and do all this shit. They go to like a satanic high school. Like, it's fucking like crazy.
Oh, so it's not like her trying to blend into normal high school?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, she does. Because when she turns 16 is when she's supposed to go to the dark side.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's well fucking written. I mean, it's a CW show, but on Netflix.
Sure.
It's way more grown up. They don't really start swearing in it until like maybe midway through the season. But I mean, it's fucking great, dude. Like, they bring people back from the dead and they become like not necessarily zombies, but they're fucking automatons. Like, it's fucking good, man.
I'll give that an honest watch.
Yeah.
I feel like my tastes have changed a lot. Like, a friend of mine asked me to come up with like a top 10 movies that I saw in 2018.
Sure.
And there were a couple, I guess you could call them horror. Some of them I would say like horror-ish movies. That
right,
kind of
horror adjacent.
That kind of made my list that I was in years prior probably wouldn't have been there.
Such as?
I really liked Hereditary.
I haven't seen that yet, but I saw that it was on HBO. I think it might be on Prime now.
I paid for it to just rent it to watch it on, like, stream it. I think I've seen that you don't particularly like The Witch.
I didn't care for it.
Okay, you might not like this movie either. It's kind of a slow burner as well.
I don't mind slow burners. I just want there to be some kind of payoff at the end. Like Witch, I really didn't see a payoff at the end of that.
Really?
Like, yeah, I was so bored through the whole fucking movie.
The payoff is when she joins the spoiler, joins the coven, whatever, and is floating into the fucking sky.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Like, I don't know. It just seemed way too like fucking the Scarlet Letter and that kind of Nathaniel Hawthorne bullshit for me.
I kind of like that about it.
Ugh. So
you don't have to deal with any of that in Hereditary.
Yeah,
it's
I
definitely
really,
a slow, not like a high action movie. There's a lot of super fucked up stuff in that movie, though.
Right. Well, I like the main actress in it,
Toni Collette.
Toni Collette. She's
incredible.
Fantastic.
She's incredible in that movie.
She's incredible in everything that I've seen her in.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The United States of Terror?
No.
She plays a woman with bipolar or not bipolar, multiple personality disorder. And she's fucking excellent. Like, every character has a completely different, like, look. Like, just the look on her face when she's, like, switching between personalities is completely different. To the point where, like, when she's transitioning from one character to the next, like, you can see her face completely change. Like, there's a character named Buck that she plays. She becomes a man, and, like, her whole thing is, like, he was in the Vietnam War, totally talks like this.
Like Walter Sobchak.
Yeah. He's like, well, if I didn't have my dick blown off in the Vietnam War. And then, like, there's she plays, like, a teeny bopper character that just this total skanky horror, like, wears, like, her fucking G-string way up to her, like, her shoulder blades. She has like this 50s prim and proper housewife character. It only went 3 seasons. And they were done. And it had Brie Larson was the daughter, and John Corbin played her husband.
John Corbin.
He was in, like, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. He's been in a bunch of shit. He's like that actor, like another character actor. But it was a great fucking series. Like, she deserved some kind of tin for that role. I
feel that about Hereditary.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
She should have gotten like a fucking she should get an Oscar nomination.
Really?
For it. Oh yeah, if you like Toni Collette.
Yeah, I dig Toni Collette. She was even great.
She gets a little bit of that weirdness because the movie deals with like possession and stuff like that. So you see some of that with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And then the other one was Mandy. Did you see Mandy?
I did not see Mandy.
With Nicolas Cage?
No.
Oh my god.
Is that the zombie flick?
No. It's sort of like in the vein of like Evil Dead-ish, sort of like campy horror.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's Nicolas Cage, so it's got to be campy.
He's so good, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Well, he was awesome in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it was just voice acting is different.
True.
He's like he's a
full on Nick Cage
role. Oh yeah, so it's about like I don't remember what he does. He's a trucker or something, and his wife or fiance or girlfriend is murdered.
Wait, is it a revenge flick?
Yes.
Oh,
but it totally draws references to like old like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Really? So I think I've seen stills of it, and he's just covered in blood.
Oh yeah, it's one of the more like weird, fucked up movies I've ever seen.
See, I dig me a good revenge flick.
It's good. It's just a really slow start. It takes a long time. His wife, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, gets murdered by this like cult that worships. I do not know the actor's name. He played the only thing I think I've ever seen him in is he played Bruce Wayne's father in the first like Batman Begins, the first Nolan movie.
Oh, the guy that looks like Tony Hawk.
Kinda.
Yeah.
So he's like the antagonist of the movie.
Okay.
He's this cult leader. You do see his dick in this movie, which I always think is hilarious because it never happens.
Right.
When it does. I'm like, ha, ha, ha. So he plays this really hilarious, like, charismatic cult leader that somehow they're supplied this. It looks like it's like acid or something, and as soon as they take it, they hallucinate, and it's so strong. Like, you only get, like, a taste of that when Nicolas Cage's character tries some of it, and
Sure.
it, like, turns into, like, claymation, like, a nuclear blast blows all his skin off, and then, like, you see his skull, and then he's batshit crazy for the rest of the movie.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
all right, let me see if that's on Amazon.
Sort of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sort of homage is, like, he has, like, a fight with a dude who has, like, a 10-foot chainsaw blade.
Okay.
Yeah, so if that tells you anything, that's the kind of movie this is.
Oh, yeah.
It's ultra violent.
All right.
I was
Dude, it's 2 hours long?
Yeah, it's so good. I don't know anything about the guy who made the movie.
Panos Cosmatos.
He did some other cult classic film that I guess a lot of nerds really enjoy. It's weird. I guess like technically he took like a purple LED and had it off camera but shining into the lens of the camera for most of the movie and just gives everything like this weird purple tint. Okay. Everything is like strange colors. It looks like it was made on film that's like degraded. Okay. If you're not like ready for it, it's not a mainstream horror film by any means, but it's funny. It's not funny. It's both of those things. It's outrageous. It's the weirdest Nicolas Cage movie I've ever seen.
Crazy. Well, that's saying something.
Yeah, but he is so good. Really? Shockingly good.
Right on. Let's see here. Yeah, the director did the only other thing he's done is something called Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Yeah, that's what I guess a lot of people really, really are into. I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it. I think he's like a cameraman, which sort of makes sense why he's doing the stuff with lights into the camera for
Well, here's
like,
something
effects.
interesting. He was a video assistant operator second unit on Tombstone. Okay. And that did nothing. And that was in 1993. Yeah. Then he did nothing until he was a producer for a documentary. Nope. He did nothing until 2010 when he did Beyond the Black Rainbow. Huh. Very interesting.
Knowing what I know about Mandy, I should check out that movie. If it's half as weird, I'll probably like it.
Right?
Yep.
That's nuts.
There's, but like the cult that he's fighting, it's very much like everyone's like clad in like leather.
Really?
Yeah, like full leather, like masks and everything. Mm-hmm. There's one scene, just to give you a heads up. I'm assuming you've seen Seven.
Oh God, multiple times.
So the murder that you don't actually see anything of, where the guy's talking about like the strap on with the blade.
Yes,
you get to see one of those.
Ooh, that's brutal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen a lot of movies this year, really because of the podcast I'm doing, and not all of them have been recent movies, but like the one we just reviewed, we recorded it a while ago, but it's called The Voices with Ryan Reynolds.
I'm not familiar.
It's on Netflix,
Reynolds, obviously, yeah.
And he plays somebody who's got some severe mental problems, and his dog and his cat talk to him in his apartment.
How old is it? Do you know?
2014.
Oh, so not that old.
No, and then you come to find out that he's got schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder.
Sure.
And he's he could possibly be a serial killer. It's fucked up.
The voices.
It's actually pretty good. Just download the last Netflix and chill. Me and Tom talk about it.
Yeah, I saw it.
But go watch the movie first. I made Tom watch Tusk.
I enjoyed Tusk.
Tusk was great.
Yeah.
I know he talks shit about it, but it's fucking hilarious.
Even the bad Kevin Smith I enjoy.
Oh, so. Yeah. Have you seen Life After Beth?
No.
It was with Aubrey Plaza.
Okay.
And Dane.
Is that a Kevin Smith movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's I don't know who directed it, but she basically catches some kind of virus, dies, comes back to life as a zombie.
No,
and then it slowly becomes a zombie apocalypse.
She does some pretty weird stuff.
Yeah.
Have you seen Legion on FX?
I have not seen Legion. I heard it's awesome.
It's so weird. It's really out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's based in the X-Men universe.
It's out there even for
really?
that. Oh,
crazy. Yeah. Well, there was that one movie that she did too. Hold on, what the fuck was the name of it?
Is it where she plays the nun?
She plays a nun?
Yeah, that one's on Netflix. It's called Little Hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not heard of that.
It was added recently. She plays a nun that lives in a convent.
Really?
In the probably 18th century.
Really?
Yeah. It was okay.
I will have to check that out.
It's ultra dirty humor set in a sort of medieval feeling environment.
Okay. Totally up my alley.
18th century isn't medieval, but it's what it feels like.
Ingrid Goes West.
No, I'm not familiar. That's Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah. She plays she's like not a Facebook, but she ends up playing a Instagram stalker. And she totally friends this chick. Who was Olsen, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Olsen's this fucking Instagram personality, and she becomes a fan, and next thing you know, she weasels her way into Elizabeth Olsen's life.
Huh.
And shit goes sideways. But it's a great fucking movie. She's just got severe mental problems.
No kidding.
And but it's a great fucking movie. She's kind of what's her name? God damn it! I hate it when I'm doing this because I know who I know what I'm talking about. She did the movie. What was it? Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, and she was in it with Anna Kendrick.
Okay,
she's kind of like Anna Kendrick. She makes very, very interesting movie choices.
Huh.
And but yeah, it's a good fucking movie, dude. I would highly recommend that.
What's it called?
Ingrid Goes West.
I'll check it out.
And I caught it on Netflix.
Cool.
It was really fucking good. But yeah, I'll have to check out Legion. I think it's on Netflix now.
Is it?
I believe so.
Oh.
I believe so. Because that was on FX, yeah?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
They put out a lot of good TV.
Dude, FX has been killing it lately.
You watched Atlanta?
No, I haven't watched Atlanta yet.
One of my favorite shows of last year.
I mean, I hear it's excellent. I just have never had a chance to see it.
They totally changed format this past season.
Did they really?
I think they called it Robin season.
Okay.
Because the first episode, one of the main characters he's sitting in his car. A friend of his walks up to him, puts a gun to his head, and takes his money from him from the car. You're like, oh, it's gonna be about people getting robbed, but it's becomes much more sort of abstract with that theme, but nails it. It's more of every episode is only loosely related at most to the last one.
Okay.
Where the first season was sort of a long story arc.
Okay.
Yeah, but Donald Glover,
he's a genius.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
I think his music is my favorite part of his artistic output.
Mm-hmm.
Even that's still good though. But as a TV writer, holy shit, he's that show is incredible.
Really? Yeah. I've not seen. I think I've seen the first episode, maybe part of the first episode. I just haven't had a chance to really just sit down and just grind through it.
It toes this really, really fine line of being really funny and then jarring you into there's a scene in the first season where he gets arrested for something, and he's just basically sitting in what looks like it's like sitting in the DMV, but he's at the police department waiting to get processed. And there's a trans woman who's acting really, really funny, and you're kind of chuckling at it, not because she's trans, just because she's acting like a goofy person, like she's super drunk or something, and then a cop like cracks her in the face with a nightclub, and you're just, ugh.
Damn.
So it's really funny until like snap your fingers, and
until
it's not funny anymore. And that show does that, not a bunch, but when it does it, it
counts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the "This Is America" video.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example, and not just because it's Donald Glover, but because there's a lot of that where I'm just like, haha, that's pretty goofy, and then he shoots people.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude. But yeah, so we watched that. Let's see. Oh yeah, you guys were in August. I'm looking at my Pop Goulash feed here. We did Creep.
Creep?
Yeah, it was a Mark Duplass show. Mark Duplass.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shock horror movie, found footage type deal, and I fucking hated it. Like the first. I've
never even heard of it.
Yeah.
What was it on?
I saw it on Netflix.
Huh.
The first one is I didn't care for it very much. It was one of those where I'm like, it's just another fucking.
I don't know which of the Duplass brothers is which.
I didn't know he had a brother.
I don't know which one we're talking about. I know the one from The League.
That's the guy.
Okay.
That's the guy.
I could not care any less about any acting that guy does. He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I love like pretty much everything that they put their name on, though.
Really?
Yeah.
You might dig it.
Have you seen like Wild Wild Country on Netflix?
It's
a pretty short documentary series. It's crazy.
Okay.
I think they just produced it though.
Gotcha.
Well,
he was also in Safety Not Guaranteed.
That was a good movie.
Brilliant movie.
Yeah.
Dug that movie a lot. But they did a sequel called Creep 2.
I've never heard
of
that. And
I actually enjoyed Creep 2 much better. It made a lot more sense to me.
Huh.
And it was I thought it was fucking great. But yeah, there's been, just a few movies here and there that I've been watching.
Another horror movie from last year that horror-ish, I would say, was Annihilation. Did you see Annihilation?
I did not see Annihilation.
It hit a lot of. I'm really just making myself sound like a liar right now by saying that horror movies are not something I'm really into. One of my favorite movies ever made, period, is The Thing.
Okay.
With Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Which I know was technically a remake of a much older movie.
And then they remade it again.
Yeah, I don't care about that. That movie fucking sucked. But the Kurt Russell, John Carpenter, like mid to early 80s, I think.
Yeah, it was early 80s, I want to say.
I love that movie, and Annihilation hits a lot of those same notes with sort of like this mysterious creature that can turn into any kind of really weird, fucked up looking monster.
Okay.
There's a lot of fucked up monsters in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
It's good.
Have you seen Extinction?
I have not.
It had Michael Pena in it.
I like him a lot.
He's excellent. I haven't seen him
in
anything.
Who knew he was so fucking funny? Then I saw him in like
Ant-Man.
But even before that, he was in what's the movie with Jesse Eisenberg that it was based on a true story. That's a really messed up story where he's a pizza delivery boy.
30 Minutes or Less?
Yes.
With Aziz Ansari?
Pena was hilarious in that movie.
Is he in that?
Oh,
I did not know that he was in that.
He's like the sort of like Latino gangbanger.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that was, as far as I know, his first foray into comedy, and he's hysterical.
He's brilliant.
And then in Ant-Man, both of them, he's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, in Extinction, it's like this futuristic type thing, and
he's not funny.
No,
okay,
it's
fine.
definitely
we know he can be serious and do it well.
It's definitely played as a drama.
Okay,
and it's a alien invasion movie.
Huh.
But it's fucking dope, and there's a twist in it that, like, if you don't see it coming, it's gonna hit you in the face like a ton of bricks.
Okay, I'll check that out.
And it's a Netflix original.
No kidding.
Yeah, that one's fucking dope.
I'm usually like on top of all of that, even though I think Netflix can be kind of hit or miss.
Dude, they're just throwing spaghetti at a wall at this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's really, really good, but some of it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I mean, really, how much you spend $5 billion putting original content on? There's gonna be some dog shit in there somewhere,
right?
Like, but then like they're canceling good shit too, like they had that one show that was a 90s throwback show. Everything Sucks.
I didn't love it.
Oh, dude, I loved it.
It felt like a bad Freaks and Geeks to me.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it definitely had that Freaks and Geeks vibe
Trying
to
to
it.
be like a really like time specific like period sort of show.
But that was my period.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in that 90s period. The soundtrack was just great for me.
I didn't finish that show.
Yeah. Like, and like
it got canceled though?
Yeah, they only did a single season of it. But like for me it was more like I just dug the wardrobing and like the whole time frame around it. The one blonde drama chick and her boyfriend, like I fucking hated them. Like they were the fucking worst. Like just like I'm like, dude, we all went to high school for 4 years. Some people went for longer, but never once did any of the drama kids come out and like just drop everything and start doing like Romeo and Juliet or Hamlet in the hallway because they could.
Right.
I'm like, come on. That was fucking lame.
When I was in high school, the drama people, like they were drama nerds, and they weren't like aggressive, like trying to be the popular people.
Right.
Like,
because they knew they were the nerds and didn't want to.
They kind of gave them that dual role in that show. It felt weird.
Yeah, it felt very weird. That was the only part that I felt was disingenuous about the whole thing. So, but yeah, that was good. There's a new one that just came out called Sex Education.
I haven't seen it.
It just came out, I think, today or yesterday or something. It's a British show.
Okay.
So it has the potential to be pretty good. I don't know. I find the Brits to be pretty funny.
I watched, because my wife was into it, I watched most of like the Golden Globes.
Okay.
That were just on.
Yeah, I watched part of it.
And I
then
saw
I went to
that
bed.
Kaminsky Method on Netflix.
I've heard that was fantastic.
Got a bunch of stuff. Michael Douglas won whatever his
Best
award
actor
was for that.
Or whatever.
I've started watching it. He's pretty good.
The one thing that I don't understand about the award show is why do they always lump comedies in with musicals?
Because they didn't used to have a category for comedies at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's lame. So
I feel like he made like some sort of mention in his speech. Michael Douglas did, where he was surprised. Like he was clearly not acting, but clearly surprised when he won over all the other comedic actors. And then he said, like, the first thing out of his mouth was like, "I'm really honored to be recognized, like, in the like comedy genre."
Right.
Because I think even he appreciates that it's a difficult thing to do.
Oh yeah, comedy's hard.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's you could think you're funny,
right?
You know, but does it resonate?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But he's pretty damn funny on the show.
He's a good fucking actor, though.
Yeah,
you
know? I think it also won for writing, and I didn't know the guy was Chuck Lorre won for that.
Yeah, Chuck Lorre, creator of every
2.5 Men.
2.5 Men. The what's that shitty show with the nerds? You know which one I'm talking about.
Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory.
Oh, that's him too?
Yeah, Two Broke Girls.
I don't watch it anymore now.
Yeah, Two Broke Girls. Like anything you see on CBS.
2010's CBS sitcoms, yeah.
Yes, that's Chuck Lorre. And he wrote all that shit.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's the man for CBS.
I mean, it kind of has a sitcom-y vibe to it, but it's done like clearly higher production because it's got Alan Alda and he's fantastic.
Alan
Alda's
brilliant.
Yeah,
like
I love him in everything.
Yeah, dude, did you ever see Whiplash?
The movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
With
J.K.
Rowling.
That's the author of
Harry
Potter. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she was awesome in that. Dude, that was a fucking brilliant movie.
J.K. Simmons?
J.K. Simmons,
yes.
Yeah. He won the Oscar for that.
Yeah.
And he's still doing Farmers Insurance commercials.
Yeah, it's a steady paycheck.
Yeah, right. But don't that I saw that movie on an airplane.
Yeah.
And I was blubbering crying at the end of it.
Really?
I cried in an airplane over a movie.
I didn't have that strong of a reaction to it.
Dude,
I liked it though.
It was a brilliant fucking movie. But like I'm tired of seeing Miles Teller and everything. That fucking guy needs to stop.
What has he been in that's making you so tired of him? I feel like he didn't follow that up nearly as strongly as I would have expected.
Well, not with the Fantastic Four, no. But he did a lot of shit right around that time frame when that movie came out.
Yeah.
And I'm just done seeing him.
He was in somebody from the Pastor's Pub Facebook group recommended like a boxing movie he was in. I don't even remember what it was called. Based off a real boxer. I don't know who it was. I'm not
interesting.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Five famous boxers throughout history. But for some reason, I really like boxing movies.
Right.
And he was really good in that movie.
Was he?
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. Interesting. That's kind of how I am about like the Vietnam War.
Do you like Vietnam War movies?
Dude, I love Vietnam War movies. Yeah. I hate war and fucking, like, death and violence and all that bullshit. But, like, I'll watch a horror movie and I love me a Vietnam movie. Give me a Vietnam movie, I'm going to sit the fuck down and watch that shit.
So you're really big into Deer Hunter?
Deer Hunter was a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was a long fucking movie, but it was a good movie. Hamburger Hill, fucking that shitty one with Sean Penn and fucking Michael J. Fox. Behind Enemy Lines, was it called? No, what was it called?
Behind Enemy Lines was Owen Wilson.
No, that was.
Are you thinking The Thin Red Line?
No. The Thin
Red
Line.
That was World War II.
Yeah, and it was also
Sean
Mel
Penn
Gibson.
was in that movie.
Yeah, and Mel Gibson.
I don't remember him in that.
Yeah, he was in it.
There were a lot of people. That was a Terrence Malick movie.
I think so. Yeah. I had to just keep a
Vietnam
IMDb.
Movies.
God, what was it called? But like Sean Penn played the hard ass, and Michael J. Fox was.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
And he was like the softer guy, and
yeah, it was not that great.
I loved it. Can't remember the name of it. If that tells you anything. But yeah, that and fucking Full Metal Jacket. God damn, Full Metal Jacket was amazing.
Yeah, it was Stanley Kubrick. Of course it was.
Well, the funny thing
was Stanley Kubrick that wasn't Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Right. Well, the crazy thing, Eyes Wide Shut sucked. Like, it looked amazing, but Casualties of War.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that
Platoon.
Platoon was good.
Yeah.
Platoon was excellent. That's the one that made
it. Was so good, like, Charlie Sheen was good in that movie, too.
That was so good that everybody in that movie became a horrific drug addict. Like, Tom Berenger, like, fucking everybody was shitty in that movie. But, yeah. Tom Berenger, dude.
Yeah, movie. You a fan of Sniper?
Never saw it.
Oh, with Billy Zane and Tom Berenger?
Yeah, I saw Billy Zane on stage.
Where? Why?
One of my wife's favorite movies is The Sound of Music.
Okay.
And he played Mr. Von Trapp in The Sound of Music at the Lyric Opera House. So we took my wife for her birthday. So yeah, I got to see Billy Zane on stage.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see The Frighteners?
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
that's a Peter Jackson movie.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, underrated.
Very underrated. It's a brilliant fucking movie, man. And I don't even think it's available. I don't think you can buy it on...
I think I've got it on DVD, but DVD's kind of hard to watch for me sometimes now.
Oh, dude, seriously.
It's so bad.
Yeah, like I popped on a DVD the other day of one of Grayson's fucking movies, and I'm like, ugh. Like every now and again, Kirsten and I get into the discussion of... well, maybe we should try to cut back on things. She's like, well, we could maybe drop our HD service. I'm like, we're not fucking savages. Are you kidding me?
I wouldn't last a day.
We can't come this far and give up HD. Are you kidding me?
No,
come on.
That's a really, really good Michael J. Fox movie.
It is.
I didn't know until like years after, because I just didn't pay attention to it, that you notice he puts his hands in his pockets a lot in that movie because he has like a big gray like trench coat.
Yeah.
Because that was when he was sort of
first getting the part.
Yeah,
like the symptoms.
But like people didn't know that, so he was
interesting.
Trying to be discreet about it.
Very interesting.
If you go back and watch that movie, you see that a lot.
I will have to if it comes back up where I don't have to pay to see it.
Yeah.
Oh damn, man, that's got a great cast too.
Arlie Ermey.
Arlie Ermey. Jake Busey's in it.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, because Arlie Ermey plays one of the ghosts.
Yep.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a good fucking movie, dude.
That's like classic Peter Jackson, which I've not seen a ton of. Outside of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits, I think I saw that, and I saw...
Did you ever see Bad Taste or Meet the Feebles?
No.
Dude, Meet the Feebles is fucked up.
Huh. I saw Dead Alive.
Dead Alive is good.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's so campy and bad that I love it. And you got less of that, but still some of that with Frighteners. It was kind of campy, and I liked that about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, because there was a moment where I was like seriously on a Peter Jackson kick. So I was watching all of his shit.
What I imagine is like a New Zealand sort of sense of humor, especially now that I know like Flight of the Conchords and stuff like that.
Right.
And like the last Thor movie.
Last Thor movie was brilliant.
That felt like a straight up New Zealand humor movie.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name.
Tahini Coates.
Yeah.
Well, even because he even played the rat guy.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, that movie was hysterical.
Dude, that movie was brilliant.
And
especially
that's coming from somebody who I'm teetering on just being completely sick and tired of Marvel movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like Black Panther and Infinity War. It's kind of I didn't think they're bad, but they did not excite me.
Right. Well, I mean, culturally, what Black Panther did.
Yeah. I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but their Golden Globes, that movie got nominated for Best Picture. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't see comic book movies getting nominated for 10 like that.
I know, but I feel like that's weird to me that was the one that sort of did.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what was it going to be? Fucking Civil War? I mean,
yeah.
So.
But that's kind of why I thought Spider-Man was sort of a breath of fresh air. Cause that movie was so fucking good.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
Top to bottom. I thought, the soundtrack was music I don't really listen to in my spare time.
But it fit.
Oh, yeah. Like the sequence where he first gets the suit and he's swinging across the city.
Dude.
So good.
Yeah. When he finally gets his actual spider suit.
And they show that shot where he's falling, but the camera's flipped upside down so the buildings are on top and he's falling up.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's
so
really
good.
Cool, man. I need to go see it again. I actually get my work gives me King Day off.
Nice.
So I'm planning on going to see Aquaman because I haven't seen it yet.
Oh boy.
Dude, it's gotten good reviews. And
have you liked the last DC film outputs?
I will say they haven't been what I've wanted.
Sure.
But I still feel that they're watchable.
Oh, man. Batman Superman, I thought it was terrible. I thought Justice League doubled down on being even worse somehow. Wonder Woman was fine.
Wonder Woman was great.
It was fine. It was head and shoulders better than the rest of the DC movies. Mm-hmm. But Aquaman was...
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
You didn't care for it?
It was so... batshit crazy and not in a good way to me.
Really?
No.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it yet.
Which is fine. Which is shitty because I think Jason Momoa is a great. He plays a great Aquaman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the movie was just crazy.
It's gonna cross $1 billion if it hasn't already.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
I was thankful because
whoever would think that the Aquaman movie or an Aquaman movie would hit $1 billion.
Yeah. I mean, I think the memes that were going around were they gave this guy a movie and it's a picture of Aquaman from Super Friends stuck in the plastic rings of a 6-pack. Which is a pretty good meme.
Right.
I was really thankful. There's a theater not too far from where I live in Skokie that has Dolby Cinema, they call it. It's kind of IMAX-ish.
Yeah.
It uses Dolby Atmos, so it has speakers running all along the ceiling and the sides.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not particular about that. I'll go see any movie in any theater pretty much, but I appreciate a really nice picture.
Sure.
And a really nice sound. My wife could not care less. She hates spending the extra $5 per ticket.
Yep.
But I was thankful when, for some reason, 2 or 3 weeks after Aquaman had been out, they stopped showing that in the Dolby Cinema Theater, and Spider-Man got put back in. I was like, I'm fucking going to see it again.
I've heard to see the Spider-Man movie in the 3D IMAX.
I haven't seen it in 3D. I really should.
That's the way that I've heard to go.
I bet.
Yeah. I mean, I would totally...
the super collider and the particle effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The animation was so good.
I saw the original... Well, I don't want to call it the original, but I saw the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
The Sam Raimi.
Yeah, in the IMAX.
Yeah.
Dude, it was pretty fucking brilliant.
I haven't seen those movies recently.
I haven't seen them in years.
I haven't seen them recently. I'm kind of afraid to.
Yeah.
Because I liked the first two.
The first two were good, man. But Dancing Spider-Man,
I like that they sort of
they did make a joke about that.
But they made guns walking on the street.
They made in that first sequence, they made reference to all of the original Spider-Man movies.
Right.
Even the Tom Holland pulling the boat together, they made reference to that as well. So.
Yep. Did you notice, because I'm assuming you saw the after credit sequence, or maybe you didn't because you
No, we were getting the fuck out of there.
Do you know what happened with that?
No.
So some character, we don't know who it is, some female character says something about how the multiverse didn't completely collapse.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Spider-Man 2099.
Okay.
And then I kind of put it together. I didn't see it the first time, but the second time I did, in Miles Morales' dorm room, he has some kind of poster for something that looks like it has a mech on it. And it says 2085.
All right.
So I think in the movie's timeline, because they call Spider-Man 2099, I've never read any of those books. I just recognize the suit. They call him Miguel.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, it's just Miles Morales 14 years later. So he's like nearing his 30s. He's got a deeper voice, and he's Spider-Man 2099.
Interesting.
I will fucking watch that movie.
Yeah. Interesting. And that's even more interesting because...
And they don't do anything with that character. It's just like a reference to like the Spider-Man pointing at himself meme for 30 seconds, and that's all it is. But the significance is that you see him in the suit. Sorry, you're going to say something.
Well, no, the interesting thing is that the Spider-Man 2099 came out years before Miles Morales was even a creation.
Right, because isn't he relatively new?
Within the last 5 years.
Yeah. And Spider-Man 2099, didn't that actually take place in 2099, like in the future, like flying cars future?
Yeah, and it was, I want to say that came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
So.
Something that I feel like I appreciate, even though I haven't started doing anything about it, with just like the style and how much I love that movie. Like, I felt enthusiastic to somehow, I haven't done it yet, search out like a sort of contemporary way to look up like old sort of back issues of comic books, which I know you can subscribe to services. Oh, yeah. I know you can pirate those things too, read them on your tablet and shit like that. But I'm like, when I was a kid, I had a subscription to Amazing Spider-Man.
Sure.
The last I can remember reading were sort of like the Clone Saga, which I guess in hindsight a lot of people fucking hated.
Right.
I remember loving it when I was in grade school reading those.
Because it's written for you.
Scarlet Spider was a fantastic character. His suit was awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like the Iron Spider. Iron Spider's fucking costume was amazing too.
Yeah.
But yeah. I know that with the Marvel Unlimited app, it's like $60 a year.
A year.
But you get like access to fucking everything.
Really?
And even the current stuff, but you have to wait like 6 months for the current stuff. So there is a delay.
But you can
but
read
the back catalog stuff is there.
Like,
there's a lot of back catalog stuff
thousands?
available. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, you can see there's a ton of shit that's up there.
I'd have to talk my wife into justifying a $60 cost, which is not that much money, but
it's less than a Netflix subscription.
Yeah, it's for what it is, Netflix subscription. Like, I pay for that.
Yeah.
I've been on my mother since that was a thing.
That's hilarious. I've been a Netflix subscriber since it was only discs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so were my parents.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the dorm room. I had an Xbox 360. I was in school in Cincinnati, and I didn't understand like the streaming. I'm like, am I supposed to pay per movie? I don't get this.
That's funny.
Because they weren't. I think they must have done some kind of like soft launch or something where they weren't. It wasn't in the news them talking about like streaming service or anything like that. And I remember just sort of having that functionality and being skeptical.
Right.
And then it just kind of built up from there.
Well, I remember always getting those digital download cards in your Blu-rays.
Yeah.
I sold so many of those on eBay because I'm like, I don't have any hard drive space to download all these onto. I
never thought to do that. That's pretty smart.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, I never thought to have like I don't have hard drive space to download these movies. No. Never mind that they're kept in a cloud.
Right.
And you can just watch them.
Yeah.
Dude, I kicked myself for selling all of those because like I had like Lord of the Rings Extended Edition, sold that shit.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, fuck, I gotta rebuy all that shit on streaming.
I could have watched that on the plane.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. But now my iPad's so fucking old I can't download anything onto it because it's like 5 generations too young or too old. So
and videos are so high quality that you don't have the space for it.
Oh yeah. No, like even like the app, my Voodoo app that I use for all my codes and shit, they're like, yeah, you can't download anything. You can stream, but you can't download anything. I'm like, motherfucker. So, oh man. Dude, I appreciate you coming out tonight, man.
That was fun.
It's been that's almost 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I could go for another 2.
Yeah, right. If I didn't have to get up, we're taking my kid into the city tomorrow.
Oh yeah, what are you doing?
We're going to Chicago Theater to see the Paw Patrol Amazing Rescue Show.
Look at you.
Yeah, things we do for our kids. But we're taking both boys, and luckily it's only like an hour to an hour and a half show.
Hey, I go see anything. Chicago Theater is fantastic.
Dude, it's a beautiful theater.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful theater. And the funny thing is, the seats that we have now are better than the seats that I've ever had for any show ever I've been to. Like, the last time I was this close to the stage, I saw Matthew Sweet with the Murmurs in 1995. Yeah. And that was an XRT show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Gonna deal with that tomorrow. A bunch of fucking children. They'll love it, though. It's gonna be great. So, but dude, anytime you want to come back on, man, just let me know. I'll dig to have you back on.
Sure.
Maybe next time we can Skype Dan in or Skype in one of the pastors or something and just have a roundtable discussion about some shit.
That'd be fun.
So, but all right, dude. Well, for Pop Goulash this week, I'm Ruben.
I'm Bob.
And be kind to one another.